Okay, so we're recording. All right. So what I want to do, I'm going to give a little bit of an introduction to myself. Most of the people on here know me pretty well. Some of you don't. So I'm going to give a little introduction to myself. I'll keep it under 4 or 5 minutes if I can, but mainly for the recording and the people who don't know me. And why should you listen to me? So here's my background as it relates to what we're doing here. I started sales and marketing in 1983. I did some sales and marketing in college that we won't discuss because of statutes of limitations. But as far as legitimate marketing, I got a part-time job selling Cutco knives. I don't know if any of you are familiar with them. They're really wonderful. I still use them. In fact, I bought their K-bar knife. They're now doing the U.S. Army K-bars. I bought one for my wife for the holidays. Good gift for a wife, right? So anyway, I was in college and I started selling these knives and I fell in love with the sales process and I dropped out of college to go full-time sales. And I haven't looked back. And in the meantime, I didn't get a degree, but I got a background in paralegal work. And I started working with some judges and attorneys and worked on asset protection, like for company structuring and things. And unlike most paralegals, I hired the attorneys to work for me rather than work for a law firm because I've always been an entrepreneurial type. And what I found after I've sold that company many years ago, back in 2004, but what I found was a lot of these companies were asking me how to help them with marketing rather than we get their corporate structuring up. And then they'd say, okay, well, now I need to get the word out. And you guys have great advertising. We were doing this back in the early 90s. We had websites and very few businesses had websites back then. We didn't have Zoom, but we had conference calls. We would do weekly conference calls and things like that. And a lot of them asked me to do marketing. So when I sold my corporate structuring company, a lot of my clients stayed on board with me for the marketing side, and I was helping them. And I went full-time online. Kevin, can you mute your phone? Welcome aboard, but if you could mute your mic, that'd be great. Or I'll mute him. Hold on a second. Okay, there we go. I had kept a bunch of those people, and by 2006, I was doing just about everything online, and all of my marketing efforts were for online stuff for businesses, how to get exposure, mostly online. But then around the middle of the last decade, I realized software was really where it's at. Okay. I was using mostly software to do most of my work for my clients. And then it hit me about 5 years ago, why am I doing all this work? The software is easy to use. It's simple to set up. I can just teach my customers to use it and I can sell my time selling software instead of trading dollars for hours. And I haven't looked back since then. That's what I've been doing since then. And that's pretty much all I do now. I've got a half a dozen of my own software products. I've white labeled dozens and dozens and dozens of products from different vendors, and I've developed my own brand. Whether you all go to that level is up to you. And no matter what kind of software you want to resell is up to you. For examples today, I'm only going to speak from my experience. So if some of you are on the call and you're not offering the same types of software that I am, some of the very specific details as to how I do things may differ a little bit, but all of the strategies and concepts are going to be identical. Okay, so you'll still get out of this, what you need to. Fred says he's starting to white label software. One of the things we're going to talk about towards the end of the session today is scaling. And starting to white label and build a brand is part of that scaling process for those who want to do it. Some of you are only selling software, I know this, to make an extra car payment each month, and that's it. And that's perfectly fine. Obviously, it makes a great side hustle. Some of you are looking to do this full time, and some of you are looking to develop intergenerational wealth. So no matter what level or where you're at is perfectly fine. So that's it. I am going to, at the very, very, very end, I do have an offer I'm going to make to everyone. You're welcome to join it if you want more information, but you don't have to. I have 5 spots for one-on-one coaching. It's extremely pricey, but you'll get me personally all the time. And I have a small group I'm going to start, and I'm going to limit it to 30 people. It's going to be very affordable. I think you'll be shocked at the price. It's going to be ultra cheap. but I'm limiting it to 30 people, and we will do work together as accountability partners, and I'll give everybody I'll give the group tasks and individuals tasks every day and every week and things like that to help you grow your business. So if you want more training beyond what I'm going to cover today, take me up on that at the end. If not, it's fine. I'm happy to be here and help everybody as best as I can. So that is kind of it about me and where we are. So we're going to dive into this. And I've got a bunch of different topics. So the first topic I want to talk about is the advantages of reselling versus other business models and versus also, affiliate marketing and things like that. And I want to cover that first for two reasons. There may be some people, I know for a fact, there are some people on this call right now who are very new at reselling or have not started yet. And I know there'll be people watching the recording and they'll want to know, why is reselling such a good business model? For some of you that are on here that are more experienced with this and already established as resellers, there you go, Tim, excellent. So for those of you experienced, it's still really good to know this and to see this, because as you develop, you're going to want to bring on partners of your own, hopefully. And you may want to find out, why is it better to bring in reseller partners than to bring in affiliates? So I like the reseller model for a couple of reasons, and the software reseller model specifically. Lots of industries do resellers. I don't know if you know this or not, but the little phone booths at the mall? I don't know how many of the companies still do it, but they used to all be resellers, every one of them. When you went to an AT&T kiosk at the mall, that was not AT&T, that was a reseller. They bought a bunch of licenses and they'll sell you phones and they'll sell you plans, and they buy them wholesale from AT&T or whatever the company is, and then sell them to you at a markup. And that's basically what we do. So it's a good business model. I like it. There's no inventory. It's not like selling water filters or vacuum cleaners or encyclopedias or whatever. You have Cutco knives. You don't have to stock inventory. You don't have to have a demo kit that's physical. So it's very easy. It's location independent is one of the things I really like. My wife and I travel probably 17 or 18 weeks a year. We are gone. And as long as I have my laptop with me, I can still work. I can still bring money in. Even if I stopped, at this point, I would still bring money in, but I can still actively market and promote no matter where I am. Now, yes, you can do that with an affiliate model as well. But with an affiliate model, you don't get to keep all the money. So the main advantage to the reseller is your costs are fixed. And what I mean by that is, let's say you buy a package of software products for $400 a month. All right, that's your cost for those products. You need to sell $400 a month to break even, but after that, it's pure profit. As you add more customers and more customers and more customers, your fixed costs do not go up. With an affiliate model, they do. Even though you're not putting them out of pocket, you're still paying them. If the recurring subscription plan commission is 30%, you're giving up 70% of that money. And the more you sell, even though the more you make, the more you sell, the more you're giving up. With a resale model, you would actually start to skyrocket the income. And so that's why I always push people away from an affiliate model to a reseller model. With that being said, as software resellers, depending on the license of the software you're reselling, you can set up your own affiliate program. For example, anybody who sells Genius software products is allowed to set up their own affiliate program on the side and go get affiliates to sell their licenses. And I'll talk a little bit about setting that up and how to do that later today. But you can take advantage of the affiliate model, but I also allow my resellers for most of my products to resell the product itself, to get reseller licenses sold, and they can make big money doing that. Not all software companies allow that, but if you're with me, hit me up if you're not familiar with it. If you're with a different company, ask them, can I sell reseller packages in addition to end user packages? Why sell an end user product for $27 a month when you can sell a partnership to that end user product for $300 a month? There's a lot more profit there. So, think about that and ask about that, and use these examples as to why you should get people into your reseller program rather than into an affiliate situation. It's more work. You have to do your own money collection. You have to do your own web pages and things like that. your own automations, but there's a lot more profit potential. So any questions? I'm going to stop for just a second. That's really all I'm going to talk about the business model. Is there any questions on the reselling model itself, especially from people who are newer? Do you have any questions about the reselling model or about running an affiliate program? I don't see any questions typed in the what do you call it? The Google Docs. My mind went blank for a second. So I'm assuming there aren't any. I'm not going to be watching the chat. And you can speak up too if you want at this point. Okay. Then we're going to move on. The first topic I want to cover. All right. So now we're going to really dive into some of the training. And my goal here is to take you to whatever level you're at, give you some insights, give you some perspectives to grow your business, whether you're new and you're getting off the ground or whether you're already making six figures and you want to push, much higher than that. Use this information. And the very first tip that I give everybody reselling software is use the software you're selling. Use it. Okay. I see people that are out there selling, Genius Connector, Genius Messenger, and they don't know how to use it. They're asking me questions about using the software. That should never happen. You should not be reselling software until not only you're familiar with it, but you use it. All right. You want to become your own case study. All right. It's very, very important to become your own case study. What you do is you use the software and document your results, right? If you're using Genius Connector to get new friends, make a note of how many friends you have now and how many you have in a week, in a month, in 3 months, in 6 months, and you become your own case study. Really super important, especially if the software that you're selling is productivity based or is some kind of results oriented. If you're selling something like a text expander software where you type in a short phrase and it expands it, that could be a really good software to sell, by the way, but it's tough to do case studies because it doesn't have an actual result that you can, sure you can say, hey, I've got, 20 things that I use 10 times a day and it saves me 30 minutes a day, but it's tougher to document. But as I just said, you can still document it. So use the software, all right? Become your own case study. What else can you do if you're using the software? You could go live on Facebook. Hey, look what I'm doing today. And just do a screen share of what you're doing with your software. If it's interesting enough, you'll get people to say, hey, what in the world is that? For example, everybody on this call knows that they got a new person coming in. They got a message in Messenger this morning from me. I didn't send that out. I set up Genius Messenger and I hit a button and 87 messages went out while I'm doing other things. I have a mastermind every Wednesday morning. I was on that. Neslin and I were doing some work and, some other things, eating breakfast, taking a shower, and my messages were going out. I could have gotten on a live on Facebook and said, look what I'm doing. I'm setting this up and I've got a Zoom meeting today. I'm going to notify everybody about it and I can walk away and the software will do it. That's a great Zoom. Okay. I could have done that for 3 minutes or 4 minutes and signed off, and I guarantee I'd have got some interest in that. So, use the software and let people know you're using the software. Make your own case studies. Another advantage is you can make your own trainings. All right. Keep in mind when you're selling software, people buy things from a person, right? They buy things from you because they like you, for the most part. Especially they'll come back and buy additional things from you. I recommend if you're reselling software, even if your company has fantastic training videos, do your own. And you can't do your own unless you're using the software. So as you're using the software, make training videos, share screenshots. I know Shelly sells Builderall. I know Shelly does lots of her own trainings. She does live Zooms like I'm doing now. She does videos. She does YouTube. She does Facebook Lives. Really super powerful. Do your own training so that not only can people see what the software can do, and not only can new people get an additional way to get perspectives and learn how to use the software, but they get to learn it from you. And now when they come back and they see another software, oh, she's the one or he's the one that taught me how to use this. They already like you. You've already helped them. You've already done something good for them besides just take money from them and sell them a product. Now you're engaging with them a little more personally. And you can't do that unless you're using the software yourself. So Really, really important. Let's see, lives. I already mentioned lives, so I don't need to go back to those. You can handhold clients too. If you're using the software and a client reaches out to you and they have an issue, if you don't know about the software really well and really intimately, about the only thing you can do is say, well, put in a support ticket. But if you know the software inside out, upside down and backwards because you've been using it, you can take 30 seconds, you can hop on a Zoom with them, you can show them what they need to do, and you hop back off. You haven't lost much time, but how much more of a hero are you to that user, right? How much more likely are they to come back and buy something else from you later because you're the one that helped them, not the support team from the software, but you. And even if you can help them, if you get on Zoom and you say, oh, wow, that looks like a little bug in the software, go ahead and put in a support ticket and I'll let the company know you're putting that in. You're still the hero of that story. Even though you didn't get the solution, you're still the hero of that story. But again, you can't do that unless you're using the software that you're selling. So really, really, really important. The other thing is if you're selling productivity and automation software, you should be using it anyway because your time as a software reseller should be spent in outreach, which you can automate a lot of, but in networking and personal connections and talking to people and getting to know them better and onboarding people and in relationships because people buy from people. Develop those networks and those relationships. And if you're using your software and it's productivity or automation software, you have more time to do that. So, that's an additional reason. Now, I realize not everybody, the software they're selling is not automation or productivity, but if it is, automate as much as you can. Again, now we go all the way back to the beginning of what I said. You become your own case study. Look what I did today while I did that, and you become your own case study. So that's kind of it on using the software you're promoting. That's the next section I wanted to cover. Does anybody have any questions on that, or is there anything? If someone wants a white label, how do we make off of that? Ronald, that's a great question. And I'm going to answer it now because it's kind of related to the last thing that we did, advantages of reselling. And I will cover this in a little more depth when we get into scaling. White labeling is good for three reasons. One, you generally have a lower per license cost. They're more expensive than a partnership, a reselling partnership overall. But for example, okay, if you get a Genius Messenger partnership from me, about the lowest you can get down to is $1 a license if you buy a lot of them. But if you buy a white label from me, it's a couple of grand a month. It's over a couple of grand a month. However, you can sell as many licenses as you want. So after you hit 2,000 licenses, your cost goes down. So one of the advantages for white labels is it can be a reduced per license cost. So additional profit is one reason to white label. The second thing you can do with a white label is brand yourself. You can brand yourself not just as a software reseller, but a software company. And that has a lot of other advantages and things you can do. Actually, there are four reasons. I just thought of another one. The third thing you can do, and in my opinion, probably the most powerful thing, is you can sell reseller partnerships. You can design your own partnerships for people to resell your white labeled software. So those are the three main reasons. The fourth reason, and I do this frequently, you can trade stuff. Hey, I've got this software. Here's the cost. Hey, I'll trade you, a lifetime license to mine, and you give me a lifetime license to yours. You can make those kinds of trades. Or hey, I want to resell your software. I'll let you have 100 licenses of mine. Give me 100 licenses of yours. Now you can exponentially expand your portfolio of software you can sell without incurring an additional cost to get that software added. I have about 5 or 6 softwares. Well, I have 5 right now. I've got one I'm working on that I've got that way that I sell just by trading, so they don't cost me anything extra. So those are the advantages of reselling, of white labeling. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. Okay, so any questions on using the software you promote or anything that I've talked about so far? Really, really important though. I know it sounds simple. Let's see, I see Ronald has another one. I'll wait till Nestlin copies that. I know it sounds simple. It's a really simple kind of use the software, well, duh, but really think about all the different things you can do while you're using that software, such as case studies, lives, trainings, things like that. Really, really important. It looked like Ronald had one more question. Oh, if someone wants to buy a white label from us. Okay, good question. That depends on who you're connected with. If somebody wants to buy a Genius white label, for example, a Genius software white label, come to me, ask me. I'll work something out, and I'll make sure you get a finder's fee for that. If you have another company that you're reselling for, whether it's as long as they offer a white label, like if you're selling, Builderall, for example, I don't know if they even have a white label, but whatever company it is, ask them, hey, do you have white labels? I've got someone interested. What can we work out? Just work that, and then become the intermediary between that company and the person who wants the white label, and you can make some good money there. Hopefully that answered the question. Okay, so that's kind of it. So what I want to talk about next is where do you start? All right, we start with learning and using the software, but where do you start next when you want to market? There are two ways to market. You can throw stuff against the wall and see what sticks, or you can pinpoint things. You can throw darts at a dartboard with practice and skill and try to hit the bullseye. I see a lot of marketers go out there and they put up these generic web pages and they have this great software, but they show the features. It's not targeted to a particular person. It's not targeted even to a particular industry. And 3 months later, they wonder why they can't sell anything. So this is really important. I highly, highly recommend you find a niche to market. Yes, spray and pray is what Fred said. Yeah, that's what people do. They spray and pray. And can you be successful doing that? Yes. But you're only going to find the people at the very end of the sales cycle that already are looking for that particular solution and just happen to stumble across your sales page. So you've taken your chance of getting a buyer and reduced it 99% probably. I don't know what the percent is, but greatly. Whereas if you find someone that has a specific problem that your software can solve, and you can connect with them and show them that your solution fixes their problem, now you're going to increase your sales greatly. And the easiest way to do that is to pick a particular niche and start with it. And I have a document that I'm going to share with you. You'll all get a copy of this afterwards. This document may apply to you, it may not. This is a list of niches that apply to the software I sell. My software is geared mostly to small businesses, people who work on Facebook and use their personal profile to market. That's my main target. If your main target is large corporations and you're selling, enterprise level payroll software, for example, you're going to want different niches than what I'm going to show you here. But take the same principle and find, a specific industry to go after. The same principle applies, even if that's your software you're selling. Do you want to go after any company with large payroll, or do you want to go after manufacturing industries with, over 1,000 employees in the United States and Canada? Because you're going to have a different approach. You're going to have different problems. Even if you're doing payroll, they're going to have different problems in the U.S. than they are in Canada, or they are in Europe, because the taxes are all different and the benefits are different and lots of things are different. So again, you need to think about your industry and who you're selling to. So I think what I'll do, I'm going to share my screen, and I want to go down this list of niches, and then I want to talk about, after we go through this, I want to talk about why it's important to have these and the different types of things you can do, or I may do that while we're going through it. So let me share my screen, and get rid of the Zoom windows because they're always in the way. Close that, close that. All you people look nice, but you're in the way. And I'll try to make this, let me see if I can make this, I don't know if I can expand this screen while I'm on Zoom. I probably can't. Can everybody see that okay? Is it large enough to read? Okay, good. All right,
All
so,
good,
and this
Lars.
is alphabetical. Awesome, awesome, thank you. I want to back up for a second. I never introduced Neslin. Neslin Chrysostomo is on here. She is working for Genius now full-time. I hired her as a customer service rep, but she has proven herself to be much more valuable than that. And she is my executive assistant, and you're going to be seeing lots more of her in 2023. So welcome, Neslin. I apologize. I was going to introduce you in the very beginning, and I didn't. So But thank you for being here. All right, so
Thank
accountants
you,
and CPAs.
boss.
Absolutely. Some of these people I'm going to put on here, but I'm going to tell you don't go after, and I'll tell you why. But these are still niches you could go after. Accountants and CPAs, the smaller accountants and CPAs are what I would go after, not the larger ones, because the type of software that I offer are for the CPAs that want to do taxes for the hairdresser down the street, or actually any of the niches on my list, all the small mom and pop little businesses. Those CPAs are still out on Facebook. They market themselves. I call it marketing their face instead of a logo. They are the face of the company, not a logo of a big corporation. And you'll notice that's basically the difference on all of these. They market with their face. They would use Facebook profiles to do that. Okay. So accountants and CPAs, agencies, marketing agencies online, all use software. And if you've got software that they can use, great. And even better, if you've got software that you can white label and sell them reseller packages of, even better. Artists and art galleries, your local artists are on Facebook. They're promoting their stuff. Authors, that, their face is their brand is their name, right? So, keep that in mind. But the smaller the author, the better. Somebody that writes a small series of self-published book is out there hustling and can certainly use your help with software. Auto detailers, auto mechanics, barbers. These are great. This is a really great niche, by the way, barbers. I sell a lot of software to a lot of barbers. They make a lot of money. They have a super high, they're kind of like a software reseller. They have a fixed cost for the most part. And once they've achieved that, they're in pure profits. They have a really high profit potential. And if you can help them break past that nut they need to crack every month, they can be a really lucrative industry. Bookkeepers, boutiques and gift shops, caterers, chimney sweeps. This is seasonal for the most part, but when their season hits, they need that work. And if you can help get the word out during the year before their season hits and help them get exposure using whatever software you're selling, good to do. Chiropractors I would avoid. Why? Everybody hits up their chiropractors. They get saturated with marketing material. The local chiropractor in your town that you can walk in the door and say, "Hey, Joe, how's it going?" Perfect. The chiropractor you have to do a cold email blast to, an uphill battle. Go for the easy, low-hanging fruit. So if you know them, yes. If you don't, I would avoid them. Clothing stores, coaches, coffee shops. This is a really good one. If you're selling software, you've probably done some work at some time on your laptop in a coffee shop. And I'm not talking Starbucks. I'm talking the local coffee shop. It's got, the local person out there and selling sandwiches and coffee. Really good place because you can tell them, "Hey, I'm coming in here to work. Here's what I do. I'd love to patronize you, but I might want to chat with you about how I can help you." Let's see. I'm not going to read through this whole list because it'll take forever, but you get the idea, right? These small people that are advertising with their face and they're on Facebook. Hairdressers is another really, really, really good one. Remember when you see something like jewelers, I'm not talking about your big brands that advertise on national television. I'm talking about your little mom and pop, jewelers that do, repair and things like that. I would avoid lawyers. Same reason as chiropractors. Everybody hits them up. And I worked with lawyers for a while. I made my entire software business out of lawyers. I even wrote a book called Get More Cases. You can buy it on Amazon. And if anybody on here has a law degree, I apologize, but they're jerks to work with for the most part. So they're tough, and they're really tough to get a hold of. Loan originators are really good. Who else do you want to avoid? I'll make sure everyone on here has a link to this sheet so that you can get some good ideas. Yeah, you get the idea, right? So small people, but you want to target a niche because they have different problems. Like a realtor, for example, okay? A realtor is going to have different problems than a barber, okay? And I'll use two examples. If you're doing a sales page and you're going to talk about problems and solutions, does a barber have the same problems that a realtor has? Absolutely not. From talking, these are both niches I've worked in extensively with software. The number one problem I encounter with realtors is they have so many people they message with all day long, every day, back and forth. When they have something come up like an open house, they're scrolling back through Messenger. Who was that person that hit me up last week? That they're just disorganized. They don't have a way to organize their contacts, and they lose leads. And most realtors I talk to are making pretty good money, and they do something like, well, I guess I got to increase my ad budget because one lady I talked to lost 25% of her leads from last month. She didn't remember who she was talking to. If you've got a software, I'll toot my own horn for a second, like Genius Messenger CRM, right? But maybe some other one that can solve that problem. Now you can reach out to realtors with a, hey, are you losing leads kind of a thing? And we'll talk about that when we get into sales pages. But you can identify a specific problem. Barbers have a different issue. Barbers don't lose leads. They don't have as many leads typically as a realtor does, but they have very consistent people. So their problem is making sure their people come in more often. And also, how do they find new people in the community? So if you've got outreach software that can help them, generate new friends on Facebook, or, find a way to let people on Facebook or on social media or wherever your software happens to work, know more about them. Maybe it's software that helps them with their Google My Business page, something like that. If you can help them with that and show them how to set that software up and then tweak it, you don't have to do the work, just sell them the software. How do you get repeat people? So maybe you're setting them up a software similar to like Chirply I use, right? If you're familiar with that, but there are lots of softwares like that where you can reach out to people and you can send them text reminders every month, or you can, do something like that. For consistency, maybe they want to wish people a happy birthday, although realtors should be doing that too, but how do you get people to consistently walk in your door every 4 weeks, which is what the barber's goal is. They want that customer to come back every 4 to 6 weeks. So if your software can help them stay in fresh with their customers, so the customers, oh yeah, I need to get my haircut appointment, or I need to confirm my appointment, or whatever your software does, they have a different problem than a realtor. A realtor doesn't have those problems. They don't have regular set appointments like that again and again and again and again. So that's the advantages of coming up with a niche. When you're looking for a niche, okay, it has to be appropriate to your software. It has to be something that your software can solve the problems in that niche. But it's better if you have experience in that niche, at least if it's familiarity because you're a customer, a regular customer, and you've talked to the person in that business about what their problems are. If you have friends or family that are in that business and you can sit down with them and say, what problems are you experiencing in your business? Because that's the first thing you have to identify in a niche. What problems does that business have that you can solve with software? So if you know the industry, or if you have someone that you can say, hey, give me 30 minutes or an hour, let me buy you a nice dinner. I want to sit down and ask you some questions about your job. And then start asking them what problems they're having and identifying what solutions they can solve. You're going to be a lot better off than just picking something because you think there's a lot of potential there. Now you're going to have to go find those people anyway. You're going to have to research them. You've just got a lot of extra work that you don't have if you're already familiar with it, or if you know somebody you can grab and say, hey, sit down and give me this information, good friend or family member, that you can do that with, because that's the first thing you want to do after you get your niche developed. And what you want to do after you've got your niche, and they can be 2 or 3 niches. For example, if you want to target barbers, target hairdressers and target maybe nail salons. All 3 of those niches have the exact same problems that software can solve. Okay. If you're doing realtors, you could branch out into insurance agents. You could branch out into loan originators rather easily. Similar problems. Okay. Similar client base. So get your niche and come up with a list of problems and figure out how that software can solve those problems. You can also, if you need to, you can go out and find problems. You can go to Google and say, what problems do realtors have in their business? Just type that in Google once. You'll find really interesting things. There'll be articles written. Things I need help with as a realtor. You'll find forums and groups and Facebook groups that realtors hang out in. I'm going to just use them as an example that you can go to and start looking. What kind of questions are they asking? Hey, how do you do this? How do you do that? Find out what kind of problems are happening in that industry. Do your research. There's a saying, I forget who said this. Everybody says George Washington, but I don't think that's correct. But there's a saying that if you've allotted, 4 hours to chop down a tree, spend the first 3 hours and 50 minutes sharpening your axe, okay? And that's what this is. This is sharpening your axe. Find that niche, find your problems, figure out how the software can solve those problems. If you do that, everything else I'm going to teach you in this session will be much, much, much easier, okay? If you don't do that, you'll still be able to do everything else I'm going to teach in this session today, but you're going to be fighting an uphill battle with every single step. But if you take the extra time to get your niche, get the problems, figure out what the solutions are, you will find everything else I'm going to show you and teach you and share with you today to become super easy. So that's why I cover this near the beginning. Any questions on finding niches, on finding problems, coming up with solutions, anything like that? And you're welcome to just hop on the mic if you want to too. Or is everybody pretty good with that? Okay. All right. Everybody getting some good value out of this so far? Even you experienced guys, you getting some extra additional info? Good. Awesome. Okay, so next on my list, you've got your niche, you've got your problems, you've got your solutions. Now you need to figure out what software you're going to offer this niche to solve their problems and how you want to package it. What I mean is, do you want to just sell a single product? Do you want to sell a bundle of products? Do you want to sell a single product and then have an upsell funnel where they can get additional things from you? This is something that you want to think about before you start designing things like sales pages and marketing pieces, because this is going to be what you talk about your page. Your page should talk about the problem you're solving, but you need to have that solution before you start talking about the problem. And so that solution, of course, is your software. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how to come up with those products and how to figure out pricing, okay? You can get a little water here. Sorry about that. All right, so when you're putting your product together, there are a couple of ways you can do this. Sorry. One thing is figure what's the biggest problem that you're going to be able to solve. For example, let's say you went in that realtor niche and you found 12 problems that realtors have. Finding new customers might be one. Getting more organized might be one. Losing leads on social media might be one. You're going to have this whole list. And then some of them you won't be able to figure out a way for your software. So maybe out of the 12 you've got 8 that your software can figure out. But out of those, you're going to hear again and again from realtors you talk to, or whatever your niche is, whoever you're talking to, there's going to be one problem that just rises to the top. This is the main problem most people are having with their marketing in that niche. That is what I would go after first. So figure what product do you have that can do that. When you're building your marketing, you want to do one problem, one solution. Okay, you want that page to speak to you. And I know everybody's going, yeah, but I have 12 problems I need to solve. Great, you're going to have 12 sales pages eventually at some point. You'll have 12 different pages, and each one will solve one. That way, when a realtor talks to you and goes, I'm losing leads, you got a page to send them to. When a realtor says, man, I don't know how to get more people on social media, I don't know how to do outreach, you got a different product, a different page you can send to them. Are they more likely to buy from you if the page you send solves that specific problem? Absolutely, right? No doubt. So figure out which software is going to be probably the most common problem you hear and which one will solve that. And that's what I would focus on first, okay? If you're deep in this and you're already making sales and stuff, but you haven't done a one problem, one solution type sales page, it's fine. Stop making more push out and go back and do what I'm teaching now and put up a new sales page, and then find the next problem and put up a sales page for it. I prefer single products over bundles, but I know a lot of other marketers prefer bundles. But you really need to think about your niche. First off, is your niche tech savvy? If they're realtors, they probably are because they use a lot of software in their industry anyway. If they're a nail technician, they might not be. So are you going to be doing them a favor if they have 8 softwares that they have to learn all at one time? Or are they going to get overwhelmed and confused and not use any of it and cancel? If they're not tech savvy, you're always better with one software. Let them learn that, let them use it, and they go, hey, you got this down. That's great. Here's another problem I can solve for you. Here's a different solution. You'll sell them that on the back end. in that particular niche, or I would. Now, are there exceptions to every rule? Yes, you will run into, what do I mean by sales pages? I am going to jump in and answer this right now because it's so relevant to what I'm talking about. If you've got a page out there on the internet that talks about your product where a customer can hit a buy button, that's a sales page. Somewhere on the net that you can send them to, whether it's something you've built very fancy in a something like Kartra or Builderall or ClickFunnels, or whether it's a 2-page Google Doc that you typed up something that they can go and read about it and you've embedded a buy button. Those are what I mean by sales pages, a place they can go where they can click a button and buy your software. So, and we're going to talk about those today and how to style them and how to get the best results out of them. But while we're talking about the products, you know, it's relevant to that because that's where these products are going to get put on so they can buy from. So cool. Awesome. Think about that. Which one is going to solve the main problem and which one, there's Joe. Think about which one's going to solve the main problem and maybe even which one's going to be the easiest to sell and get people on board and using, okay? Maybe some super complex software, even if it's going to solve the biggest problem, maybe that's not the best place to start because now you're going to spend a lot of your beginning time helping customers get onboarded. So think of things like that as well. But more than your work, it needs to be a fit for the customer, okay? The first one that you think about doing. Now, if you've got a tech-savvy niche and you've got multiple problems that can be handled by several different softwares, but it serves the same goal, then it will be okay to bundle them. And I'll just use my software as an example. I have people that bundle Genius Messenger CRM and Genius Connector and Genius Disconnector. They can get new friends on Facebook, they can get rid of disengaged friends on Facebook, and they can organize those people on Facebook and all of their outreach. That makes a good bundle. Okay, it's appropriate because it really addresses a similar problem. They all, you know, the problem is getting people in and not losing those leads, and then being able to do proper outreach to them. So those 3 products together would make a good bundle. With that said, I don't do bundles. I don't have a bundle like that. A lot of my resellers do, but I don't have one. I just don't do bundles. But if a bundle makes sense to you, then do it. You know, but make sure whatever bundle you put together solves the same problem. Okay, don't bundle 2 different softwares that have nothing to do with each other and are not going to be able to identify that one problem, one solution. If you do that, you're going to get, there's a disconnect there. The customer's going to, you know, it's like adding a bonus ebook on dog grooming. If you're, whoever is talking, can you mute your phone, mute your screen? Who is that? Let me find out who that is. Let's see who I need to mute. Mute. There we go. Okay. Sorry about that. So, where was I? Oh yeah. So, you know, make sure that when you're putting these together, that they fit. You want the example I was going to give is you wouldn't sell an ebook on dog grooming if your product is, you know, an SMS messenger thing. You know, how to send, the 2 have nothing to do with each other. So again, if you're putting together bundles, don't do it just because you think you can cram more value in. You know, I get offers in my email all the time. I got one this morning, 20,000 PLR products. 20,000 PLR products. It was $10. What a waste of $10. I would rather buy 1 PLR product for $100. It is something I can use very specific in my business. So, but some people think, oh, I'm going to sell a lot of these because I've only priced it $10 and they're getting 2,000 or 20,000 things. That's not necessarily the case, okay? So you do yourself a disservice if you try to bundle things together that don't fit perfectly towards that one problem and that one solution. So I see a lot of people make that mistake, so please avoid that. With that being said, can you mix software with info products? Absolutely. Okay, I'm getting ready. I'll give you an example. I'm getting ready to relaunch some scrapers. I've got an email scraper for Google Places, Google My Business. I've got an email scraper for Google Maps, and I've got an email scraper for social media groups, keyword-based. I am going to bundle them because they all do similar things, and I'm designing an info course on cold emailing, how to do outreach to them, targeted cold emailing. That's an info product. And I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to include it with the bundle or I'm going to do it as a bump order or an upsell, but it's going to go along with that product set because it relates specifically to it. So with that being said, you could do membership sites where they have ebooks. They have, things in addition to the software that you're selling them. Maybe it's video training courses that you're offering on related topics. I'll use realtors. If you're selling to realtors, you're selling, a messenger solution to realtors, you could do training topics on how to do outreach, how to not look spammy, how to not get banned by Facebook, how to, you could, and put it in a membership site and sell that as an extra value on your software. So when you're thinking packaging, don't just think other software products. Think outside the box and what can you bring to that customer to add additional value to what you're selling them. This is huge. Really, really huge. The people that are doing really, really well in the software industry are, if you look at some of their things, they have other things that they're selling. They're selling admissions into membership sites, private Facebook group. You could sell private, hey, as you use the software, I'll be in there to walk you through. I know this niche inside out. I've been a realtor for 20 years, whatever your situation is. I've been a realtor for 20 years. I know how to use this stuff in my business. I'll share my insights with you. So if you buy the software, you get in my Facebook group. That's easy to set up. You don't have to create a membership site. You don't have to create an ebook. It's easy. Create a Facebook group and then participate and encourage participation in it. So when you're thinking packaging, don't just think other software, as long as it fits. Okay. With that being said, you also want to think about funnels and design your funnel the same way you came up with that product and solution thing. And what I mean by a funnel is when somebody buys a product from you, they click the buy button and they get taken to a page that says, thank you, here's your download, or thank you, check your email, or, whatever. Or they can get taken to a page that's what we call an upsell page that can say, hey, thanks for your purchase. We're creating your account now. While that's happening, here's another product we have that might be a good fit for you. That's an upsell page. And if you have 2 or 3 of those in a row, now you've got a funnel. Okay, actually just one makes a funnel, but when's the best time, and holler out if you know this, when's the best time to get somebody to give you a credit card? Anybody know the answer to this? Most of you should.
When you got them online, right here on Zoom.
Right after they've given you a credit card, when you're right there. Now, they're not going to be live, they're in your funnel, but if they're on that page, what did they do? They're right there with you, and they've just given you a credit card. They've still got it out. It's still in their hand, probably. They're sitting on their desk next to their computer. So do an upsell, increase your profit, but make sure, again, the same way you would think about a bundle, make sure that funnel has logical sense and is solving a problem. I'll give you an example, okay? I'm going to list 3 products, and I'm going to show you 3 different ways to make a funnel out of them, all based on a different problem. I'm going to use the realtor that has a problem of losing leads in Facebook, not having an engaged audience, and trying to figure out how to get more people in, okay? So you can use any one of those as the start of a funnel, all right? So I'll use 3 of my products as an example. Genius Messenger solves the losing leads in Messenger aspect. Genius Connector solves the getting new friends on issue, new people to contact. And Genius Disconnector deals with the engagement issue and getting rid of the deadwood so that your message gets out better. So you could start that funnel with solving the problem of losing leads. Hey, I've got the software, it does this. And again, your sales page, when we get to that, we'll talk about this more, but your sales page should talk about solving their problem, not the features of the software. They don't care about that. They don't care that it can broadcast to people, but they do care that, hey, I can get extra people at your open house on Saturday with automation. You click a button and you'll have more people show up. That's all they care about. They don't need a demo of the software for that. So when you're thinking this, always think the problem. So my sales page for the first part of the funnel is going to be, here's the software that solves the solution, which is Genius Messenger for losing leads. Now they go to the upsell page. There has to be coherency of message. Okay, coherency of message is really important. So I could say something like, now you've got finally your messenger organized. Now you want to get more people in your system. Before you didn't want more people. You're going to lose them anyway. You're losing 25% of your leads. Why do you want to bring more people in just to lose them? But now you're not losing them. Now you want to bring more people in. Here's a software tool that'll get you more people in. Okay, that's a natural flow in that sales process. Now they buy that and they go to the next upsell page. Hey, you're going to get to the point where you have 5,000 friends. Now you can't invite anybody more. But half of them are not engaging with you and they're killing your Facebook algorithm and not showing your posts to people. You need to get rid of them. Here's a tool that can get rid of all of them. And do disconnector, right? Again, it's a natural flow. I can take that initial problem, expand on it, or elaborate on it in the funnel. And all of those three products, it's a natural flow. It's an easy sell for them to say, hey, I need that too. I need that too. But you could change that funnel any way you want. You could start with connector, right? Maybe your realtor's problem is, hey, I'm pretty organized, but I don't have, hey, Will, can you mute your phone? Let me mute Will's phone. There we go. Okay. So let's start with their problem is they don't have enough people to talk to. So I could make Genius Connector at the beginning of that funnel. Okay. Hey, you need people. Here's a solution. Now they go to an upsell page. I could do either one. I could either go to Disconnector and say at some point you're going to have so many friends that you need to get rid of some of them. I probably wouldn't do that next, but you could. Here's a tool that'll do that. What I would do next is, hey, I know you're probably relatively organized now, but as you increase friends, you're more likely to lose leads in Facebook. Here's a tool that will prevent that from happening. You've got your tool already to get more friends in. Let's make sure you don't lose any of them in your marketing cycle. And here's Genius Messenger. That's a natural upsell. And then you can say, hey, you're going to be really organized. You're going to be doing a lot of reach out. Now your problem is you're going to eventually get more people. You'll need to tone them down so you can get your algorithm better and get engaged people. Disconnector as the final upsell. Or you could start with Disconnector. Hey, I've got 5,000 friends. I can't get any more friends and I'm disorganized. Great. Start with Disconnector. Clean your list out. Clean it out. Find out who's not engaging with you. Clean it out. And then the next upsell in that funnel would be Genius Connector. Now you've got your list cleaned up, but you need to build it back up again. Here's a tool to do that automatically for you. And then Messenger will be the final product in that funnel. Hey, now you've got your people, your deadwood out. You've got your engaged audience. Now you really want to make sure you hit them hard and not lose any and be able to contact them regularly. Here you go. So using those examples, does everybody see how in that example, each page in the funnel, one problem, one solution, but yet they're all related to each other. Okay. I have a little bit more to talk about on products and packages and funnels, but that's a lot. So I want to stop for a second and see if there are any questions on that. Any questions on packaging and like how to think about what products to put together or which ones to flow through a funnel? Any questions on that, or do we cover that pretty good? Okay. All right. Sounds like we're good. So the last thing I want to talk about in products is I want to talk about lead magnets. Okay. What is a lead magnet? A lead magnet is something that you can entice someone with to become your lead. It's a magnet that attracts leads, right? In the software business,
Hey, Ed.
typically, yeah.
Hey, Ed. Can I jump in there real quick?
Sure.
Yeah, I did have something to kind of mention about packaging and stuff like that. One thing I've noticed that I will put a package together and I sell it to people where, like you said, you could go friend connector and then friend disconnector or vice versa. One way that you can really get people to see your stuff is like what I do every once in a while is you guys can see what I do on the Joe Show, but I show the solution to what I'm doing. And then another day I'll add that package item the next day. So if I was showing Friend Connector today, then I'll say, hey, so yesterday you saw that I had a whole bunch of people that I was asking as a friend. And today, what happens if you have 5,000 friends and you can't add no more? Well, today, let me show you how I can get rid of those so I could go back and start using more friends. But one thing I do know is, and I see, is if I package something up, people will tend to get overwhelmed, even with 2 or 3 softwares. So when if I get somebody on a call, let's say I had like me and one other person here on the call. What I'll do is say, hey, I've got a great deal for you. I will give you a package. You're needing Friend Connector. Now, let me show you how Friend Connector works, and let me get you all set up, because and this is when they bought it, I try to get a Zoom call with them, because that's how I keep my customer in a long term. The churn rate is a lot lower. And
we're going to talk about onboarding in depth. Let's stay really focused on packaging right now.
And then what I do is they'll say, well, what about the upsell that I got for the Friend Disconnector? And I go, let me show you how to get that going a little bit more. And then let's take a few days to get learning, and then I'll sell you the other one as well too. And that's how I do like an upsell, because I do notice sometimes if somebody got 4 softwares, they're probably going to use 1 or 2, and they're going to be overwhelmed and not use the 3 and 4. That's all I wanted to throw a point.
That's the primary reason, Joe, that I don't do bundles. And as far as, and we're going to talk about churn rate and what it is and how to prevent it or how to reduce it. You can't prevent it, but how to reduce it. So one of the things Joe mentioned is really important. If they buy a bundle of 4 products and they're only using 1, it doesn't matter how economical it is. It doesn't matter even if you're the cheapest solution out there. At some point, they're going to go, I'm paying for 4 things. I'm using 1. It's a waste of money. And they're going to cancel, most likely. So, you know, and the overwhelm, you know, Jeff just mentioned about overwhelm, and Joe had touched on that. They get too much stuff to learn. Their hands are up in the air. Oh, I'm done. I can't learn all this. So exactly. Good information. And, you know, Joe's doing a funnel. Instead of doing sales page and you go to buy and then you go to a thank you page that buys, he's doing a funnel that becomes part of the onboarding process, which we're going to talk about. So that's another great way to do it. The bottom line is the more connection you have with your audience and you know what their problems are and how to solve them, you can figure out what that best funnel is, whether you're doing it as sales page, upsell 2, upsell 3, or whether you're doing it as an email sequence. On day 3, they get an offer. On day 7, they get an offer. Or whether you're doing it as part of an onboarding funnel like Joe does. You know, when you teach them this, talk about that. When you teach them that, talk about this. It's still a funnel, and it still has to have a logical, you know, progression. Just like you said, Joe, you know, you're teaching them that, and you're going to say, hey, eventually you're going to run into this. I'll show you that once you get this down. That's beautiful. That's really fantastic. It's a great way to do it. So especially if you have a funnel like Joe's where your software purchasers get that onboarding with you. Not all resellers do that, and we're going to talk about the advantages of that a little bit later, but it's a really great way to do it. So, okay, so lead magnets. Let me talk about lead magnets before we hop off this topic then. A lead magnet is anything you can entice somebody to get on your marketing list for, to come into your marketing world, and you have a way to reach back to them, whether you're capturing their phone number, or you're capturing their email address, or you're capturing their physical address. If you can get them in as a lead so that you can continue to market to them and pitch to them and tell them what you've got, and you've got something little that you can give them, then that's fantastic, okay? So you can increase your business greatly that way. You want to make sure the lead magnet you choose is going to be a good lead into other things that you sell, okay? Again, you know, disconnect. There's got to be coherency of message. If your lead magnet, let's say you've got a software lead magnet that, well, I'll name one I have. I have a form filler software. It creates fake profiles and then goes out to web pages and fills out forms so you can get feedback from those companies. If my main product I'm selling is a social media marketing tool for small business owners, do they care about being able to go out and fill out forms? No. Is it a cool software? Absolutely. But it doesn't fit my target audience. Could I develop a product that would be a good lead magnet for? Absolutely. I could design one today, but you know, I haven't yet. So I want to make sure my lead magnets that I'm offering fit that same coherency of message, so that the people that got that lead magnet and are using that software, even though they didn't pay me cash, they may have paid me with an email address, or maybe they did. Maybe I sold it to them for $1, $7, one-time fee. You can do a lead magnet that way too, to make sure that they're at least willing to give you a credit card. That's still a lead magnet, something low cost like that. But make sure what software it is, that if you're reaching out to them and talking to them about the software, whether it's a live onboarding like Joe does or an email sequence like I do, you want to make sure that the message you're sending when you start talking about other softwares fits what you've already given them. because if it's something completely different, they're not going to have any interest in it. Then they're going to wonder, well, why did you give me this if you do that? Just not a really good way to do it. So with that being said, if you can find softwares to resell that you can give away, or that you can sell very, very cheaply, and get people into your marketing world and pitch to them and talk about the problems they're having in their industry, and you have other software solutions, they'll be very likely to hand out a credit card to you because you've already helped them. You've already given them something they're actually using. All right. And for anybody on this call, if you don't have lead magnets, send me a PM on Facebook. I've got reseller packages of lead magnets for just about any. I can offer you guys all kinds of lead magnets. If you've got another company you're selling software from, talk to them. What lead magnets do you have that fit your software that I can give away or sell? Because if you can get a reseller program for them really cheap, but get thousands of products, you could give them away all day long. You don't care what the cost is, because you're getting people into your marketing environment. But just make sure there's still coherency with what you're actually selling with the lead magnet you give away. Any questions on that? Okay. I'm going to check this out. Fred Scott, software and lead magnet is how I made my latest money. Absolutely.
I might have a question. I might have a question, Ed.
Sure.
I don't know if it's a question, but I just recently got caught into a funnel where the guy's saying don't do lead magnets, okay? And I understand lead magnets and the whole thing, but I thought I'd just open up this discussion with you. What his advertising is micro offers, even if it's $7 or whatever. It's a micro offer. Get people in to pay for something and get them into a membership, right, and then nurture them from there. So what are your thoughts on micro offers compared to free lead magnets?
That's a really great point. I still consider that a lead magnet. And I do only because of what my price point is. My average customer pays me about $400 a month because my business is primarily resellers rather than end users. So if somebody buys something from me for $7, I still consider that a lead magnet. It's such a low cost comparison to what my customer pays. I would use a micro offer as a lead magnet. I would treat it the same as a lead magnet. There are some great advantages to that, though, which I'm sure you're already aware of. One is they've already given you a credit card. That's a much better lead than somebody who gave you an email address. Much better lead. So I would still treat it as a lead magnet, but it's a much better one. So if you can find those, like if you've got a software, for example, and it's cheap enough that you could give it away for an email address, but it's valuable enough that you could sell it for $7, then don't give it away for an email address. Turn it into that micro offer. Still use it as a lead magnet, but now your list is an actual buyer's list. Even though it was only $7, it's still a buyer's list, and that's a much better list than a non-buyer's list. So that's a really great point, Jeff. I'm glad you brought that up because you can do that with anything, especially with inexpensive software. Even if it's $1, at least they've broken something out. But if $7, if they give you that, I started my software reselling journey with a $7 product, and I now do a lot of development with this company. It's Tier 5. I do a lot of development with that company, and I still resell some of their softwares. I white label some of their softwares. I've developed my own using their developers, and I'm sending them close to $15,000 a month now. I started with a $7 purchase. So, that's the power of a funnel, and also scaling. Okay, that's the power of scaling as well. So yeah, great point, Jeff. I'm glad you brought that up.
I think you nailed it there with the answer to that. It's the list that you're building is a much cleaner list.
Absolutely, you'll get much more. I would rather have a list of 100 buyers than 2,500 non-buyers. I can get more money out of that 100-person buyer list over time. And of course, if you can make it a 2,500 buyer list, then you're even better. But that's all about scaling, which we'll get into. So cool, great point, Jeff. Thank you for bringing that up. All right, landing pages and sales. Oh no, okay. Before I get into those, I want to talk about first sales and testimonials. Now, if you're already experienced and you're already making money selling software, you don't need to worry about the first sales, but you may still need to worry about testimonials. I would much rather have a testimonial up to a point. I would much rather have a testimonial from someone than I would have them paying me $50 a month. That testimonial will make me way more than $50 a month, especially if it's niche specific and it addresses the problem that my sales page talks about and my software solves. If I've got a testimonial, for example, from a realtor that says, man, I lost 25% of my leads the month before I found this product, and now I don't lose any of them, or I'm only losing 0.5%, and I'm making an extra $1,000 a month just from using this product, I will take that testimonial over them buying that product from me all day long. That is going to get me 100 sales easily if I do it right, because it's so specific. So when you're first starting out, or if you have not yet gotten those kind of testimonials, think about getting your first sales and getting your first testimonials. If you have a sales page with social proof on it, not just their problem and their solution, and here's the software and here's the price, but also, hey, here's what other people using the software have said about it. People rely on that. A sales page with social proof on it is going to outperform one without social proof on it almost every time. There are some very rare exceptions to that, but almost every time. So what you want to do when you're just starting out, you've got your niche, you've got your problem, you've got your solution. Reach out to 10 people, okay, that are in that niche and that have that problem. And when I say reach out to them, if you know someone personally, pick up the phone and call them or knock on their door, go to their house and say, hey, I need you. I need some help from you. But if you don't know them, go to your community. You can go to your Facebook friends. You can go elsewhere, but you want to do a personal reach out and say, are you having this problem in your industry? Make sure they're actually having that problem. If you reach out to a realtor, hey, do you use social media? Do you ever find it hard to, I'm going to use the losing leads as an example again. Do you ever have a problem with losing leads in Messenger? I've never asked a realtor that and heard no yet, not one, ever. And I've literally asked this of thousands of realtors. I've never heard one say no. The only exception to that is there are very few out there, especially commercial realtors, that don't use social media. But if they're using social media, they're losing leads. So that's it. So find what that problem is, that main problem we talked about, and ask if they're having it. And if they say yes, say, look, I'm reselling a software. It's really fantastic. I'm going to sell it for X dollars a month, but I'm just getting started with this. I know it works, but I really need some testimonials. I will give you this, or you could sell it to them cheap. I sell it for $50. I'll let you have it for $10 a month. Whatever. You can work that out. But what I need from you is honest feedback. Use it for a week. If you don't like it and it doesn't work for you, or there are problems, then let me know why, so I can either rethink what I'm doing, or we can figure out how to make it work better for you. But if you did like it, will you give me a testimonial? Will you give me a video testimonial for 30 seconds talking about how much you love using this? Most people are going to, if they're having that problem, just the fact that you might have a solution to it, they're going to be willing to do that. And get yourself 10 testimonials, all right? Get 10 of them and put them out on YouTube, put them on Facebook, put them on your sales pages, put them on your websites, get those things, put them on Pinterest if you've got one, make it look all pretty with a border, and put it wherever you're doing outreach. Take those testimonials, if it's a video testimonial and there's a really nice one sentence quip out of there, type it up, slap it out there on social media. Your testimonials are probably the most important thing you can do for your software business, especially at the beginning. And if you're deep into it and you don't have testimonials, stop. Go back to your existing customers. You've already got customers that are using it. And if you've got some of these lead magnets or these things that you could sell for a micro offer, hey, I'll give you this if you give me a testimonial. Bribe them. Give them a month free, whatever. Go to your existing customers and say, would you give me a 30-second video testimonial? And there are even softwares, okay? There's a software I sell as an affiliate called Warm Welcome. And Warm Welcome, you can send somebody a link, and all they do is click a button on their laptop and talk into their webcam, click the button, and it emails you the video testimonial. It doesn't get any simpler than that, okay? So there are even softwares you can use to get those kind of testimonials. Shelly loves Warm Welcome. Yeah, it's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So get those testimonials. If you're new, or even if you're experienced, if you don't have 10 testimonials, that testimonial should talk about the product, solving the solution, or solving the problem. Okay, and if the problem, okay, actually can mention you, like if they can say, let's say Joe Kuski sold somebody, Friend Connector, they could say, hey, I picked up this thing called Friend Connector from Joe Kuski, and I was having such a hard time finding people to reach out to Facebook. Now I've got more people than I can talk to, which is a great problem. I might have to hire a VA. That's great, because now you've got the software mentioned, you've got Joe's name mentioned, and you've got their solution mentioned. So if you want that, ask for it. Hey, can you give me a testimonial? Mention the product name, mention my name, and talk about how it helped you. Don't be afraid to ask for that stuff. People will do it. Especially if you're brand new and these are people you know in your community or family or friends, or, you know, your realtor. If you're in the realtor market, call the guy who was realtor on your house. He made thousands of dollars off of you. And he's going to hope you come back to him when you sell that house that he moved you into. Do you think he'll give you a testimonial if you can help him with a problem in his business? Absolutely, all day long. So get your testimonials. The most important thing out of everything I'm going to talk about today, probably, especially if you're new, the very most important thing you can do is get testimonials, even if you have to give away or sell software really cheap to get it. You can even just give them a free trial. Hey, I'll let you try it for a month. Give me a testimonial. If you like it, I'll sell it to you real cheap. If not, you don't like it anyway, you know, we'll just close your account. I'll go get somebody else. I'll go get one of your competitors to use it, make their business better. That's really it. Get testimonials, strike trades, strike deals. You know, do what you need to do to get those first sales and those testimonials on board. Any questions about that? I don't see any on the Google page. Any questions on that? Really, 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 really important. And again, if you're experienced and you don't have a bunch of testimonials, stop and get a bunch, and then watch your sales skyrocket. If you've been selling 10 accounts a month and you don't have any testimonials, go get them, put them on your sales pages, and you'll 15 sales a month, 20 sales a month, 30, you'll see that. You know, if you're already selling somebody software, something else you can do is go to the manufacturer, whoever developed that software, go to their sales page, or if it's Chrome extension, go to the Chrome store and screenshot testimonials and reviews that are on there. They're already done. They're about your software. They're perfectly legitimate for you to use. You know, Google thought them, you know, verified enough to post. Copy and paste them, you know, screenshot them, get them from there. So that's a good way to get them too, but not as good as a personal video that mentions you with the software, but you can get testimonials. All right, landing pages and sales pages. I've already covered a lot of this. I'll just kind of tie in some of the points I've talked about, and then we can bring in a couple of new things. Your landing page or your sales page, and what's the difference between a landing page and a sales page? There really isn't any difference. I refer to landing pages as a page where somebody goes to get basic information and then has to apply to get more. A landing page for me usually has a form where they fill out their name and email address. A sales page has a buy button. So when I use the term, and some people talk about landing pages as a sales page that's just short. Maybe it's a half a page and it's got a video. But when you hear me use the term landing page and sales page, I'm actually making a distinction there that relates to what is that button at the bottom. Is it where they go to a checkout and give you money? Or is it where they give you an email address and go to a thank you page to get more information or get on an email list? For example, everyone on this call today hit a landing page because I asked for information to get on a list so that I could, you know, send you more information by email. There was nothing to buy, so that's not a sales page. But the concepts of a landing page and a sales page are identical, so I talk about them together. They have to have one problem and one solution, okay? The problem I had on my landing page was, you know, do you want to get better at SaaS Reseller? And I mentioned a few different things. So everybody on here, they may not be having a problem with SaaS reselling, but they definitely, all of you want to improve your game or you wouldn't be here. So that's the one solution. You know, would you like to do better in software? Join the training and you'll get better. And you provided an email address to do that, to have admission for that. So keep your pages to that. I see pages all the time, for software especially. It says, hey, we've got this software. It does 27 things. You can get the software. You can do this. Look at this. Watch this. It does this. It does that. And they're showing the software and what it does, all the features. And then they go, it's great. And it's only $47 a month, Buy Below. That's a horrible sales page. And you'll laugh because that's how most of my sales pages, at least the ones that you thank you, Fred, that you see, that you'll see from me, because most of mine in my niches you'll never find unless you're in that niche, do exactly that, because I don't focus on end users, I focus on resellers. I don't really want to compete with my end user, with my resellers. But if you're doing end user sales, you want to have that one problem, one solution. Don't talk about what the software does. Talk about how the software helps the buyer. The buyer could care less about software. I've seen software sales pages outperform other software sales pages, and the one that outperforms it doesn't even mention the software. It doesn't show a demo of it. It doesn't talk about the name of it. It doesn't show any screenshots. It doesn't have a training video. It doesn't have a walkthrough. It just talks about the problem and saying, we have a software solution that will fix that. I've seen that outperform other ones that have videos and trainings and tutorials that don't mention the problems. You'll outperform it if you mention the problem. What you really want to go for is some kind of a combination of the two. And the reason I recommend this is you don't want immediate buyer remorse, and you don't want people buying into it if they're not sure. So if you talk about the problem and solution, that's their hook. That's their reason to watch that video. Hey, I'm losing leads on Facebook. You better believe I need a solution for that. What's this video? And they'll hit that play button. Now you can talk about the software. You can show them. You can do screenshots or little 30 seconds. Hey, look what this does. But make sure when you're doing that what you're showing solves that problem. Okay. If their problem is organization, I probably in Genius Messenger I would not show the broadcast feature. I would show labels. I would show tags. I would show filters. How to go into Messenger and say, hey, do you want to make sure you didn't miss any messages from your clients? Filter by last read or last sent not by you. These are messages that were last sent by your clients that you haven't answered yet. Make sure you don't. That's their losing leads problem, right? So you can show that in your video. They don't care about notifications. They don't care about not for that problem. They may care about that, but for the problem of losing leads, they may not care about these other features. Can you talk about them? Yes, but don't spend a lot of time on it. Oh, and by the way, it does other things like once you get that list and they're labeled, you can send them notifications and you can send them broadcasts and do stuff at the click of a button. On it and off it. And these are just extra little things that make them think, oh, wow, it does all that too. Solve their problem. As soon as you start getting away from solving their problem, they've got other things, their phone's ringing, their spouse is in the other room hollering at them, whatever. You've lost them. They're there because they have a problem. They don't care what else the software does. If it solves that problem, they want it. But the reason I like showing the software is I like showing for two reasons. One, it shows how simple it is. Look, it's a click of a button and they're labeled. People love that. Oh, I can do that. It's simple. But on the other hand, if it's not a tech-savvy person and they're going to have all kinds of problems learning software, one, you don't want them as a customer because they're going to be a pain. Joe, you know that, right? So if somebody's not tech-savvy, do you want to spend an hour a day for 2 weeks teaching them how to use this software? Maybe you do. If you do, that's fine. But you'll weed out the ones that immediately see that's not for me. I can't handle that. I can't learn that. But you'll also reinforce the ones that go, wow, that's easy. That's cool. So you've got their problem, you've got their solution, and you've showed a simplistic resolution, something they've seen they can do. Wow, I click a button and it's labeled. Oh, I'll never lose. Or I can click a button and have it filtered. Wow, I'll never lose conversations. You want to do follow-up, filter by you sent last. Hey, I sent you this a week ago. You didn't reply. You may have forgotten you sent that a week ago, but now you've got a tool that'll show it to you. Joe said create training videos. Absolutely. You can do that too, but most of that's post-sale. Although all of my training videos are on YouTube and they're public because people will find them, especially if you've got hashtags about problems or solutions. People will find them searching and scrolling around YouTube, and they'll see that training video and they'll click that link and go there.
That's one of the ways that I get a sale. I get a lot of sales is that I will go and let Frank Connector, we'll talk about that, is you have one video that does it all, and then you have multiple videos that does feature by feature. And the sale is in the comments down below. And when people see that video, then they go to the funnel. It almost says, here's how I use it. And it's a video, but then I tell them you also get the training too, even though the training was on YouTube. Absolutely. And, right. And Ed has training on like Genius Messenger CRM on YouTube. I go back to those and look at those so I could create my training videos to see which ones as well too. There's nothing wrong with that.
You know, we're actually going to talk about that. That's a specific technique I teach, and I'm really, really glad to hear you use that. So yeah, YouTube's a great place to put training videos. But if you're doing training videos for training, go really in depth on that feature and what it does. But if you're training a video to capture extra sales, and you can have two, you can have one for your buyers and one just out there for a lead, for a lead magnet because it's going to attract people, right? Make sure you're not just talking about what you're doing, but talking about the problem and the solution. As you're doing it, your voice should be, hey, look, and you do this, you click here and you click here, but guess what? Now you don't lose that lead. Now you don't lose that contact. And whatever the issue, the problem is, make sure as you're making the training video, you're actually specifically, talking about the solution to the problem. That's the way to get sales from it. And not the features. Travis Sago, if you guys aren't familiar with him, look him up on the internet, befriend him. I've known Travis for 25 years. If any of you have been in online marketing for decades like I have, you probably remember bum marketing is what it was called. It was actually article marketing, but he called it bum marketing. That was Travis Sago. He's still out there. He's doing his thing. And he has a line that he said one time in a Zoom session I was on with him. He said, Maybelline does not sell makeup. It sells beauty. You don't see their commercials talking about, the ingredients in their makeup and it's talking about how this is going to make you look better. All of it, all of their marketing. The same thing with software. People don't care how the software works. They only care, does it give them the solution that they're looking for? So Travis, by the way, has a really good training program on creating a 2-page Google Doc sales page. He does all his sales through what he calls tapping in Google Docs. I have the rights to his product. He has 2 upsells with there. He sells them for $500. I sell the whole package to my customers for $100. If anybody wants Travis's training on that, hit me up at some point. Blatant sales pitch here. And I'll get you his whole package for a fifth of what he sells it for. And you can use that to create really fantastic sales pages. All my high ticket stuff, by the way, my lifetime subscriptions for resellers, which go between $8,500 and $12,000 right now, do not have a sales page. They're all 2-page Google Docs, exactly like Travis said to do them. So it's really powerful stuff. Anyway, I'm getting off topic here. Solutions to problems, not features. So as you're doing this, make sure everything you do on that page talks about that problem. That's the only reason they're there. If you stop talking about their problem and how you have a solution, you've lost them. The other thing I want to talk about on your sales page, if you've got pricing on there, okay, you do not have to be the cheapest. I get people all the time, how am I going to sell the software? So-and-so has it on a page over there. Well, if it's not a violation of the terms, deal with it. If it is, we'll fix it. Like for some of my products, I have a minimum sales price. You need to know whatever software you're selling, is there a minimum sales price for publicly advertised stuff? Can you sell cheaper privately but not publicly? What is it? But I hear people all the time going, no, I can't sell this. So-and-so selling it for $17 a month. But I also know resellers that are selling it for $147 a month. And they're outselling the guy selling it for $17. So you do not need to be the cheapest. If you're trying to be the cheapest person out there, you are not going to be in this business very long. You can make a lot of money real quick, but guess what? Every single one of your customers bought for price. They didn't buy from you. They didn't buy because they liked your product. They didn't buy because there's any brand loyalty. They bought because you could get their solution at the cheapest price. What you want to look for is value add-ons. For example, in my lead scraper, if I can give a value add-on of this course, people would pay more money for that. I don't need to be the cheapest, because are they going to buy something cheap that they need to figure out how to use? Or are they going to buy something more expensive where we're going to make sure they know exactly how to use it to get the most results from it? Things like, Jeff just hit me up on PM. Travis is a great guy. He's phenomenal, fantastic. You don't need to be the cheapest. You don't want that guy who's going to price shop, because guess what? 2 months later, he's going to find somebody who sold it cheaper and he's going to be canceling with you. I don't want that customer. I don't even want him. I don't want him. Let somebody else. When people hit me up in PM, hey, can you sell me this cheaper? I usually say no, and I block them. They're not my target market. They're not who I want to do business with. I don't even want them in my messenger. They're a waste of my time. They're going to cost me time. They're going to cost me money. I don't want them. That's my opinion. Other people may vary, but everybody I've seen come in this business who tried to undercut by price is gone. Over time, they're all gone. Every single one of them, again and again and again. You do not need to be the cheapest person out there. You need to provide the best service and have maybe you're just entertaining. Maybe you have great stories you tell in your emails and they love getting your emails. They would pay you just to read them. You know, develop some kind of relationship, loyalty, have your personality out there, have people see, you know, who you are and why should they buy from you. You know, I am higher price-wise than every single one of my resellers, every one of them. I do not undersell my resellers ever, but I still have 300 personal customers because they want to buy from me, okay? Most of them have done their shopping and they want to buy from me, you know. Yeah, Tim says me as well, Ed, and he says Travis stuff could help. Absolutely, without a doubt. So do you need your price to be competitive and realistic? Absolutely, it has to be. But you don't need to be the cheapest. And sometimes not being the cheapest is actually going to get you better results. We used to do meetings when we were doing corporate structuring. We used to do hotel meetings for like local people that could use our services, and they were free. And sometimes we had what I called secret meetings, right? We did them once a month at a local hotel. Sometimes they were what I called secret meetings. I would show up and nobody came but me, okay? Me and my staff, that was it. There's nobody there. And we had a talk show host in WBAL in Baltimore at the time named Brian Wilson. And no, not the musician. He was a big talk show host in this area. And he wanted some information. He got wind of this thing we were doing, and he wanted some information and said he was willing to promote it on his radio show for no charge. But he wouldn't do it without a price. And I said, well, why? And he said, buy me dinner. So we went out to dinner with Brian and sat down, and he said, have you been having problems getting attendance? I said, sometimes. And he starts laughing. He goes, I know it. He goes, you need to charge $20 at the door. That's all you need to charge, $20 at the door. And he started talking to me, and what I had was a video we were selling at the meeting. And we'd sell it for $20. He goes, you're not selling any because nobody's showing up. He says, charge $20, but give everybody that video. So they're really buying the video for $20, but don't tell them that. Your meeting is $20. He goes, if you do that, I'll promote it on the radio. And he did, and we had standing room only. From that point on, even if it was not mentioned on the radio anymore, we were turning people away. They wouldn't come for free, but they would come for $20. Why? If you don't pay for it, you don't perceive value there. It's a waste of your time. If you get a $7 a month software, you perceive it to be a $7 a month software. Are you going to use it all the time? Probably not. That customer is going to be gone at some point. Okay, if they're paying more money for it, they get more value out of it. They're going to learn it. They're going to use it. They're going to love it. So just keep that in mind. Do not sell on price. Cancellation policies and refund policies. Have them on your sales page clearly. Okay, I don't have. I offer no refunds. And in fact, for most of my products, I make the person click a box at checkout. It says they understand there are no refunds. This is a service, not a product. Software is a service, right? It's on, some of my software is on my server, right? They're using my server space. I'm providing a service to them. This is a service, not a product. There are no refunds, and I make them check a box that says they understand that. Do I get less sales because of it? Maybe. I also don't get very many refund requests, and I win most credit card disputes because I just show them, hey, they checked this, they knew it. Now, if I miss a cancellation request, do I go back and refund them? Absolutely. I don't even make them ask for that. So absolutely, Jeff, so true. So, just think about what you want your refund policy to be. I offer 7-day trial for most of my software. That resolves the refund issue. Try it out for 7 days. If you don't like it, hit me up, cancel, you're done. You haven't paid a penny for it. That's a really, really, really good way to be firm with a no refunds policy. But you get to try it out for 7 days. If you don't like it, don't stay on board. If you do, you're not going to ask for a refund anyway. And then I let them know, but you can cancel anytime. There's no long-term contracts. It's month to month or year to year if they buy a yearly license from me. But I recommend no refunds for software. If you're firm about it and it's clear on your sales page, will you get that one or two person that won't buy? Sure. But that's typically not, if they just are tire kicking, I'll see if it works. If it doesn't, I'll ask for a refund. You don't want them. They're going to hurt your merchant account. They're going to hurt your reputation. So my advice is no refunds. But if you're going to do that, it has to be very clear on your sales page. You don't have to go as far as I do and make them check a box for it to check out, but at least put it on the sales page in bold letters somewhere near where they have to click that checkbox and make sure they're there. think about where you want to put your sales page. Does it need to be a fancy page, or can you get away with a 2-page Google Doc? Can you get away with a Facebook post? Could a Facebook post be a sales page? Absolutely. Hey, my realtor buddies, I found a problem. You're losing leads. Check this out. I could do that as a Facebook Live and put a link to buy. That's a sales page. So think where you want that sales page. It doesn't have to be some fancy page you design that goes, out on the web somewhere. It can be a Google Doc. It can be a Facebook post, something like that. So get creative with it. The more places you have buy buttons out on the internet, the more likely you are to run into somebody that's going to click that button, especially if those sales pages talk about solutions to problems. Social proof. We've already talked about that. I'm not going to bring that up. Just make sure you've got social proof there. If you're doing a Facebook Live, you don't necessarily need social proof. The social proof is going to be in all the people that go, love it. Hey, I use that. It's great. The social proof a lot of times on social media will develop itself as you get engagement and you get exposure of that post. Demoing, we already talked about. You don't always need to demo, and sometimes it can turn people away. If you demo your software, just make sure you're specifically talking about the problem. Upsells and funnels, I don't think I need to talk about that too much anymore. We are going to talk about, some future selling. If your sales page has other pages to it, you want to always offer a person an easy way to not buy and an easy way to buy. So if your sales page has an upsell page, which is also a sales page, make sure they've got a way there where they can make sure that they've got a way to click to get to where they want to go without having to buy. Some people put these little tiny no thanks at the very bottom of the page, and you've got to search for it to go through the funnel. You can do that if you want. I love to give people a chance to say no. If it's, I don't want to pressure them into buying something or make them search for a button. I put right at the top of most of my funnels, hey, if what you see below doesn't interest you, click here. I put mine at the top in bold letters. But if you have this problem also, I can help you with it in bolder letters and let them go. So, make sure they can still get through your funnel and get to their download page or get to their install page or get to their instruction page to use the software. Don't make it hard for them. Remember, especially if this is the first time they bought from you, this is the beginning of what is hopefully a long-term relationship, a profitable, prosperous relationship between you and this customer. You want them coming back and buying more. You want them, buying, staying on board with this subscription, buying more stuff down the road. You want their user experience to be friendly and positive. That's my opinion. Other people are like, nope, I want them to have to click that upsell. Oh, great. That's not how I like to do business. And a thank you page. Lastly, at the very end of your funnel, or if it's just a sales page, whatever, somewhere after they've given you money, you need to take them to a thank you page that has clear instructions. It thanks them. Hey, thanks for picking this product up. I know you're going to love it. You want to help reinforce it. I know you're going to love it. You're going to get all kinds of stuff out of it. Here's where you go to install it. I've sent you an email. Check the spam box in case it's there. Whitelist it so you don't lose any messages from me. All your instructions are there, but they're right here too. Here are the training videos. Most of my thank you pages, even though the training links are in the software, I give them to them in their welcome email, and I give them to them on their thank you page. Here's where to go to get started. I want it as easy as possible to get that customer using that product. The faster they use it, the more they're going to love it, the less churn rate you get, the less chance of them leaving, especially if it's a 7-day trial. If somebody doesn't use the software right away on a 7-day trial, and they're at day 5 or 6 and they haven't used it yet, they're canceling that subscription just because they run out of time. I might use it later. But if they use it on day 1, now you got a really good chance they're going to continue with that software. I've looked at, I can see with my software who accesses it. I have access to the server logs, and I can see who uses it and who doesn't and how often they use it. And for the people that canceled during my 7-day trial, 90% of the ones who cancel did not use the software. So make that one of your goals. Get them to use the software. Make clear instructions. Here's how to install it. Here's the training videos. Here's how to contact me if you have any problems. Here's a support link if the software is not doing what you want it to do. Make really clear instructions. That will absolutely help your churn rate, and it'll help your customer experience. So that's it on landing pages and sales pages. We could do a weekend on how to design them and where to put this and buyer experiences and stuff, but this is not that kind of a training. I just wanted to touch on some real good highlights and some important things. If you follow these, just these little simple things that we've gone over today, you will start experiencing better sales, higher ROI. Are there any questions? Here we go. Do you recommend to put the training video public on YouTube? Will ask that question. Yes, absolutely. Definitely. There are a couple of exceptions. There are some very few exceptions that I don't put a training video live on YouTube. Some of those are scrapers that I'm using. Some of the scrapers I use violate Google's policies. And if they see things about them on YouTube, they could strike my entire channel out. So I don't even host them on YouTube. So it really depends on the training video, but 99.99% of my training videos are live, open to the public, because they also can become sales pages. So absolutely, great question. Great question. Any other questions on landing pages or sales pages? Everybody's still finding this helpful? Anybody hoping they get more information from something?
Hey, Ed, also I commented on that same thing. So if you have customers who are buying your product and you have training videos on YouTube, what it does is two things. One, it gets them training and they want to be able to see that software. But the other thing is it increases your views on YouTube at the same time. So you're not just doing one thing, you're doing multiple things. And that's the idea. When you put something on YouTube, it's for multiple ideas. One, it helps you in views, but also it helps your subscriber or your customer as well too. So there's multiple things of putting training videos on YouTube.
Perfect. That's somebody that needed the link. They didn't find it in email. Okay. Good points, Joe. Very, 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 very good points. Any other questions? Anything else? Okie dokie. Tim says, damn Skippy. All right, so next on the list, account creation. Okay, excuse me. Most softwares have a way to create the accounts automatically. And if they don't have it built in, for most of them, you can use Zapier, okay? I don't have my own account management system. I use another third-party system. But that third-party system has a direct Stripe integration, and it also has access to Zapier. So for the softwares I sell with Stripe, I can just set up a direct Stripe integration. Customer pays, accounts created. It's that simple. Customer stops paying, accounts suspended. Customer cancels, accounts deleted. I can do that automatically, but I can also do it through Zapier. Make sure you're taking advantage of any automations that you have. You do not want a customer to have to buy a product and then they don't have access to it until you go set it up. If you don't have that, if you're brand new and you don't have Zapier yet and you really want to get started, that's fine. But again, clear instructions on your thank you page or your welcome email. I set these up manually. I'll have it set up within 24 hours or reach out to me here. Let me know you paid. I'll say that's perfectly fine, but it's got to be clear to the customer that that's what's happening. Nothing is more frustrating than a customer buying something and they don't have immediate access to it. You know, we get people nowadays on an airplane. They get frustrated and start cussing when they're on their cell phone trying to do something and they don't have a connection immediately, you know, on the Wi-Fi or whatever. It's like that stuff bouncing from, you know, miles and miles away through, you know, patience, but people don't have it anymore. You know, Raul Lau uses Pabbly. Pabbly works for most things. I've not had a beautiful experience with Pabbly, but I know others have. So, you know, again, what works for you, but set the automations up. Pay the extra money if need be to put those systems in place to have that automation for that better customer experience. You can do it for account suspension and deletion too, but I want to talk about that. For most of my products, I do not have automatic account suspension. It's not automated. What I do instead, and this is a lot more work, so this is totally optional if you would do it, right? But for me, it's my customers have a better experience. I don't know why that payment didn't go through unless I go into Stripe or was it insufficient funds? Was it a fraud alert? Was it, you know, why did they actually cancel? It may have just been their expiration date on the credit card expired and they hadn't entered a new one yet. So I don't know what the reason is. So for me personally, at the end of every day, I go into my payment processor and I look for failed payments from that day. And I reach out to that customer and I let them know their payment failed. And if I can see why, insufficient funds, I'll usually tell them that. Hey, you must not have loaded up your card. Your payment failed. If you intend to cancel, let me know. I'll be happy to cancel it right away for you. But if not, I'm going to rebill in 4 or 5 days. Please make sure there are funds on there. Customers appreciate that. They love it. They don't have any disruption of service. They still get a chance to tell me, oh no, I'm done. Fine, who cares? They were going to be done anyway. So I do that. I reach out to them. Now, if it's a customer I know that, you know what, I'm tired of dealing with them. They're late every month. They've always got excuses. I don't even want them as a customer anymore. I just cancel them. Okay. And then I actually cancel their subscription. I don't give it a chance to rebill. But I look at that and I reach out to the customers and give them an opportunity. And some customers I know every month, their card's going to come through on the 3rd rebill. I don't even contact them anymore. I don't let them know. But I know that because I've contacted them every month for the last 3 months. And they've always gone, oh, I only get paid once a month. I'm sorry. Can I get rebilled? So you'll learn this about your customers, but this is part of building a relationship with your customer. My customers love that I do that. Oh, sorry, Ed. No, can I get a payment link to change my credit card? Sure. Here it is. Boom. So just food for thought. It is a lot more work to do that. So it may not be for you. You may not want to take the effort to do that. You might just want to set up a thing here. Ronald's saying I have a bunch of them. Can use any of them with webhooks. Exactly. You can definitely have, automations for suspension as well as account creation. I choose not to for most of my products. That's all I'm going to talk about account creation. I don't think anybody has any questions. If you do, I'm happy to answer them. But let me just check the question list over here. Nope. Okay. So we're going to move on. But just a couple of points I wanted to pick up on today. All right. I'm going to talk next about the biggest factor in churn reduction. What is churn? Churn is when a customer rolls out of your system. So you bring in 10 customers this month and 3 of them cancel. Your churn rate is 30%. You lost 10 of those customers, which is fine. If every month you get 10 new customers and you lose 3, your business is growing, right? But you want to keep that churn rate down as low as absolutely possible. And there are a few simple things you can do as software resellers to do that, to keep that churn rate down, intentional things you can do. So that's what I want to talk about. And the very, very biggest factor, and Joe touched on this earlier, is onboarding and immediate follow-up. Okay, that's the number one factor in reducing churn rate. So make sure their onboarding experience is clear to them and user-friendly. If you don't want anything to do with your customers, if you're fully automated, if you don't even want to know about them except when the money hits the bank account, that's perfectly fine. You can do that. Your onboarding will be through email and video, okay? But you still need to have an onboarding process. If you do what Joe does and get on live with every customer, on Zoom, you can do that too. Thanks, Ronald. I'll make sure you get the link to the recording. You can do that too. It's kind of like me with my suspension. If you do Joe's approach to onboarding, it's a lot more work. But I guarantee, I don't even know what Joe's churn rate is, but I guarantee it's probably lower than mine because he does that. He takes that extra effort and keeps that churn rate down. So you have to decide, do you want to put effort into reducing your churn rate? And then I'm going to give you some different ways to onboard people and do email sequences and pick the one that works for you. Do you want to spend more work and have a lower churn rate? Do you want to be fully automated and drink Mai Tais on the beach and not worry about your churn rate? You can still keep it down if you do that. Joe?
One of the reasons why I do that, Ed, there's a couple of reasons, and eventually I'll probably go away from that, is I'm learning from the subscriber or the customer, what is it that they're having an issue with? What is it, so that I know when they come on, what is it they're having an issue
Beautiful.
with? And then I build that training video to solve that problem for me, to solve my problem of having to get on that video. And my turn rate actually is, low, because I keep customers longer. And then what I do is I reach out to them every so often. How's the software doing? How's things going? Because I don't want none of my customers to be frustrated and just cancel because of frustration. So when I get on that video with them, I'm like, okay, what did I not tell you that could help you with this? And it helps. And that's where I get my training from. Eventually, I will not have one-on-one training unless somebody's ready to cancel. Oh, I'm so frustrated. All right, stop right here. Let me give you some time. Let me show you what's going on. A lot of times it's the customer, but also sometimes it's not the software, Facebook. And so there's something I noticed that Ed does that is fantastic with all his customers, especially on Jesus Messenger CRM. When he finds there's an issue, he posts it. Hey, everybody, there's an issue with Genius Messenger CRM. It should be fixed in the next couple of days. That actually saves bacon of people being frustrated, and more people will stick around because of that.
Yeah, we're gonna actually talk about that a little bit in depth here, but that's great. So did everybody catch that? Joe's using his onboarding, his live onboarding, not just to help the customer, but to learn what are these problems I'm hearing. Let me throw them into training, because the more you have in the training to make it clear, there are things, when you do a training on a video, you're talking about what you see, but what you see in your experiences are different than your customers, and you'll find into people where you would never have thought, I don't know how to do that. You'll run into 10 people that don't know how to do that. But you won't know it until they tell them. So that's really good insight, Joe. Thank you. Really important. But you as a reseller, speaking to everyone here, have to make that determination. How much extra work do you want to put in, to give that extra customer experience to reduce that churn rate? I have partners that have told me flat out, Ed, I don't ever want to speak to one of my customers, ever. I wish I could find a way to never even know their names. I just want the money in the bank. Perfectly fine. And can they still keep their churn rate down? Absolutely. But they have to do it through different ways. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. We've already talked about the very first thing that the customer sees is that thank you page. So I don't need to talk about that more. Make sure there are very clear instructions on the thank you page. But you have, at least if you're selling software, you should be getting that email address. This is another, I didn't talk about this in the beginning, this is another advantage of reselling over affiliate. When you sell it through an affiliate link, a lot of times you don't get that buyer list. It's not your list. It's whoever you're pitching for, whoever you're selling for gets that list. As a reseller, they're your buyers. You have that list. You can use that list. So you should be getting their email addresses. And for most softwares, you need them anyway to set up the software. So make sure they get a welcome email. Okay, that can be automated through your autoresponder, through Zapier, whatever. Make sure they get some kind of a welcome email, because the thank you page will be gone. They may or may not have bookmarked it, but that email they can save. They can print it out. They can save it. They can put it in a folder or whatever, and there are their onboarding instructions. Same thing with a welcome page. It should look actually almost identical to the thank you page. Here's all your info. Here's where you get your software. Here's where you get your training. Reach out to me. Here's the support. Put all of those links. Take the extra time to do that software, because it's getting sent automatically. You only have to build it once. But make sure they get an initial email, okay? If you want to do a live Zoom onboarding like Joe does, put that in your welcome email. Maybe you say, hey, PM me on Facebook, reply to the email. Here's my calendar link. Schedule a session in my calendar, and I'll be happy to prepare your Zoom on board, and we'll do it live. My experience has been, because I don't offer live onboardings for all my products, but for some I do, especially reseller products. My experience is very few people do that. I'm fine. I don't need that onboarding. I'm good. So most people aren't going to take you up on it anyway. But if that's something you want to offer, put it in your welcome email and make sure the instructions are clear. But then you need an email sequence. Okay. Very important to have an email sequence. And I get people all the time that ask me, can I see your niche sales pages? Will you share your email sequences with me? No, I won't. And I'll tell you why. Because they won't work for you. They won't work for you. Most people I give that to, they're going to copy and paste it and they're going to use it. Just like copying someone else's sales page. It's not your personality. It's not your niche's problem. It's not your niche's solution. It's not going to work. Take the concepts that I'm giving, but then make it your own. So what I am going to give you is I'm going to give you what my sequence is and what I talk about each day. Okay. So day one, all right, is the welcome email. They get it instantly. As their account is created, this email is getting fired out, and it's a welcome page. Day two, okay, I send them an email on day two, and it's just a repeat of day one. Remember my goal. What is my goal the first week? is to get them to use the software. That's my primary goal. I'm not interested in selling them anything. I'm interested in two things. I want them to open my emails, and I want them to use the software. If they get in the habit of doing both, one, using the software, the churn rate's down, and two, if they open my emails, they'll open them down the road when I have something to sell. Okay, so those are the two things I want to do. So your emails should have some personality. Put a picture in there of you. People love to do business with a person. Don't just have a signature line. Put your picture in there. Have a little video maybe. Hey, welcome aboard. Thanks. You know, be silly, be goofy. You know, put your personality into it. If you're more serious, that's fine. But you can still get on video. Hey, thanks for checking this out. I hope this will solve your problems. Here's some things I'd like to show you, and get to know them. Day two is the same as day one. My day two email, I will give you the text for this. It just says, hey, you got your onboarding email yesterday. If you didn't see it, here's the info again, and I copy and paste it. I copy and paste day one. So they get that thing twice. Then what I want to do for days 3 through 7 is I know the problem that this customer, because they're on a list, a specific list to that product, I know what their problem is. And you can segment these if you have different sales pages out there, then segment those, so knowing that if a customer buys the product from this sales page, this is their problem, and you can really make these custom for that, you know, have a different email sequence for each problem that they had. So somebody buys Genius Messenger from me, for example, because they were losing leads. Now what I'm going to do on day 3 through 7 is focus on that problem. Okay, you got your day 1, you got your onboarding. Day 2, hopefully you checked it out. Day 3, here's where I would start. Have you seen the training videos for this yet? You know, and in Genius Messenger, I'm talking about labels and tags. Here's the links to those specific training videos, and here's some information I have. You want to make sure you're not losing your leads. Do this first. Okay, again, I'm still problem, solution. That's what keeps your churn rate down. Day 4, I'm going to talk about more on solving their problem. Hey, did you see this feature of the software? It helps this. Maybe I'm going to talk about filtering, you know, not sent by me last, because that's how they don't miss questions people have asked them, right? So I talk about that. Here's the training video, and maybe I'll talk a little bit more about it either in text in an email, or I'll give them a video link, okay? Day 5, again, same thing. Talk about more about their problem. Okay, you're organized here. Here's a different filter feature. Have you tried this out yet? You know, and then you can start, as you get into day 6 and 7 and 8, you can start talking about other things. If you've already solved all their problems, now you can start talking about all the bells and whistles that software might have. Okay, but every day email them, and every day talk about some feature of that software that solves that problem. This will absolutely guarantee they're using it. It'll guarantee the lowest percentage of cancellations before that 7-day free trial is up. And it'll absolutely guarantee your lowest churn rate, okay? They like you, you're helping them, you're solving their problem. They didn't buy the software because they thought the software was cool. They bought it because they wanted the solution to their problem. So make sure your emails during that, especially during the first 7 days, talk about the solution to their problem. You know, and you can make your subject lines for them. You know, it doesn't need to be onboarding day 3. Hey, today, let me show you how to never miss a question somebody asked you in Messenger. I'm going to talk about the filters. You know, some headline that talks about their problem, they're more likely to click that. Otherwise, they're going to go, he's going to show me some other video. I've already been through the training videos. I don't need to open his email. So make that email headline something that talks about their problem or their solution, and make sure they click it. Now they're going, oh, I did miss that. Oh, that's right. That does solve my problem. Even if they've already seen that training video, now it's just a reinforcement. The software solves their problem, right? Okay. And so you're doing that throughout the entire email sequence. I use a 7-day sequence, and I'll tell you why. I found it perfect for a couple of reasons. One is with a 7-day sequence, it's a perfect time length. 2- and 3-day sequences, they don't have time enough to really get a feel for the software. I tried 14 days for a while, and I've tried a month, but even at 14 days and even at 10 days sometimes, the person gets it and they feel like, I've got 2 weeks to try this. I can smell dinner cooking. I'm getting hungry. I'll check this out tomorrow. Well, guess what? Unless they open your email, they're not checking it out tomorrow. Or I still have time. I still have 2 weeks. And week's already gone, right? Next thing you know, their 2 weeks is done. They haven't even used the software. It's too long of a time period. You want to make sure they use that software right away. So that's why I use a 7-day free trial on the ones that I have a 7-day trial. But from an email sequence perspective, It's also a good time, but within 7 days, you've shown them this software solves all their problems. Now, after that, do you want to continue your emailing? If you listen to guys like Ben Settle, who's a really fantastic email marketer, Ben says you should be emailing your list every single day, and if you don't, you're an idiot and shouldn't be in marketing. And that's fine. I kind of believe that. But whatever you do after that, okay, is up to you. I recommend you continue emailing them every day. You can start pitching them offers. Now they're using your software. Hey, by the way, I've got something else that'll help with this problem. Here it is. But don't turn your emails into pitch fests. Send them something every day. Even if you're just checking in. Hey, I use Genius Messenger. Let's say it's a Genius Messenger list. I used Genius Messenger this morning. Like, I could use my example from today. I used Genius Messenger this morning. I had a Zoom training I was doing, and I sent out 87 people, to remind them to check their email for it. If you've got some stuff in your business, remember Genius Messenger does this. It really helped me out today. So if, again, going back to the very beginning of this training, if you're using the software you're selling, these examples will come up in your day-to-day life, and you can mention them and, become your own case study and give you other reasons to email your list. Hey, look what I did today. Check it out on Facebook. You just put a link to the Facebook Live. That's your email for the day. But now you're taking it from email to social media, finding other ways to engage them. You can use your email sequence for that also. That's kind of it for onboarding and follow-up. Make sure it's there. Joe mentioned he reaches out to people, even after a month and says, hey, how's it going? How's this? That could be your 30-day email, already scheduled in, planned in your email sequence. Hey, today's your first month. Congratulations. So glad to have you on board. Do you have any questions? Hit reply if you do. That could be your day 30 email, just reaching out to them. Okay. Let's see if Ness put any questions over here. No? Okay. So, good deal. Any other questions on onboarding or follow-ups, immediate follow-ups, especially through email and things like that? By the way, if you're doing SMS marketing, let's say your software is something like Chirply that does text marketing. Your onboarding, in my opinion, should be text messages. Capture their phone number at the sale, and you could even send them a combination of emails and text messages, or a text and an email. But make sure whatever you're doing fits that software. If the software is Facebook marketing, you may want to send some of your onboarding out through Messenger. Get their Messenger contact, or if you use WhatsApp or whatever you do, you don't have to limit it strictly to email. But make sure it's appropriate. Joe, I see you raising your hand.
Yeah, Tim asked a really good question there too about, or telling me good idea on the onboarding that I go live with them. One thing I do is I have 3 actual emails that go out when a customer buys a product. I don't hit them up right away. The first email is usually their congratulations and here's your receipt. The second email is the email that gives them instructions. And what I do is, not everybody knows how to go and get a Chrome extension. So I make it very easy to say, go get the Chrome extension, click this button, and it takes them right to that Chrome extension on the Chrome store. And then I explain to them in there how to do that. And then there's the third email is there's a follow-up email that says, hey, I know you have it, and is everything okay? And all that kind of stuff. If not, reach out to me. And usually that's to see if they can get on and everything. If they want to get on an onboarding with me, where I'll actually set them up, what I do, and I found has been very, very valuable, is I record it. And I actually state in the very beginning, this is a recording between me and, let's say Ed's my customer, between Ed and I on training on how to use and set up Friend Connector Pro. Ed, are you okay with me recording this? And I'm going to give it to you. And then I'm going to delete it later because I won't need it later on. This is for your follow-up and reference. And they say yes. So that kind of clears you a little bit of everything. I record that and I just go through everything and I teach them how to set it up. And I get it to run while they're there, while I'm there, so that I know everything's running fine. And from there, when we finish it, I send them the recording, and that's usually sums it up pretty much right there. Anytime that they need, the other email that I have is the membership. Hey, here's your password and everything to the membership, and go on the training, and they go and look. Each feature has a training on what to do, all the way from the start of here's how to go to the Chrome store and go get it if you haven't gotten it yet, to each feature. Not all video of all features. One video, one feature, one video,
Right.
one feature. It has been very helpful.
That's beautiful. You know, you want to make it as easy on them as possible and prevent overwhelm. So really, really good points. Any other comments or questions or anything on onboarding? So remember, you're accomplishing a lot of goals with this, right? You're developing a relationship with the customer. You are getting them to use the software. You are reminding them constantly that they're solving a problem. All of that. Okay. What did Joe do prior to selling? Joe was a police officer and an internet marketer. But internet marketing selling. I don't know what you did. What did you do before you were a cop, Joe?
Actually, I'm still working. I'm a project manager for a major company here. It's an electric company here in Southern California. And then I was a police officer, retired about a year ago at the same time, because there was just too much going on. And of course, I put in my due diligence of 16 years at the police department. I'm still a project manager, but I'm a software solutions guy. And what I've been doing to help really make my business build is I take one thing at a time, and I don't try to do too many things. And I want to like cover this right here and say, this is how I'm selling everything. And then I just duplicate it because it works. That's all.
Beautiful. Yeah, I don't know if you see in the chat. I wasn't going to mention it because some LEOs don't like people knowing that was where they came from. But Tim was a state trooper in Alaska for a while, so you guys have similar backgrounds.
Nice.
So, very
nice.
cool. Awesome,
Connections.
awesome stuff. All right, so we're going to move on to the next topic. The next topic is the second biggest factor in churn reduction, and everybody groans when I mention this topic because it usually means work. Customer service. Customer service is your second biggest factor in churn reduction. I've got resellers. I don't even want to know my customer's name. I am never talking to them. I don't care if they have bugs and they quit. I'll find another customer. So, you know, that's fine. Okay. I have other customers that don't even want their people, other resellers that don't even want their people to know there's a support link in the software. They want to do all of the customer service. That's fine too. I find for most resellers, somewhere in between is the best solution. Okay. So here's how I recommend most people do their customer service. You want to be the hero of the story, but yet you want to keep your work down. What I recommend is in all your follow-up emails, make sure your customers know if they have an issue to contact you as the reseller. If you don't want to contact your customers, make sure they all have the support link in the software. Every email should say, hey, if you have a problem, you know, hit Ed up between he and Nestlin, they'll get you squared away. So that's fine too, but I find somewhere in between is best. Let them know to contact you. And then what you can do is ask for a loom. Most software issues, you don't even know what it is until they give you a loom. Some of my customers they're now at the point they'll reply and they'll go, hey, here's my problem. Do I need to send you a loom? Yes. You're already asking, you know that. Send a loom. So have them send a loom. You can watch the loom quickly and you'll be able to spot if you're doing what I mentioned at the very beginning of the call and you're using the software you sell, you'll be able to spot immediately whether it's a user error or a software bug. 9 times out of 10, if you're using the software, you'll identify that, especially if you're doing a lot of the customer service. If it's a user issue, take a page out of Joe's book and say, hey, let's hop on Zoom. You got 5 minutes? I can show you, because you know it's easy. And if you can't, or you don't want to get on Zoom with them, then make a loom. And make sure they show them respect. Don't go, oh, you're an idiot. You clicked the wrong thing, right? I see resellers do that. What are you dumb? You know, no. Say, hey, I see you clicked this wrong button over here. Don't worry. When I was starting, I did it all the time. Here's what you do. And do a little loom. Do a 2-minute screencast for them. Send it back to them. Show them how to use the software properly. But make them feel good about it. Or if it's a bug, hey, you need to submit a support ticket. remind them where the support link is in the software, take a screenshot, whatever, show them how to do that, and then say, and I'll let Ed and Neslin know to be looking out for your thing. You're still the hero of the story in that. You're the hero of the story if you can Zoom with them. You're the hero of the story if you can send them a screenshot to show them how to use it, or a screencast. But even if they still have to put a support ticket, you're the one that told them that, and you're the one that said, yo, Joe's coming in on another link. You're the one that showed them that, and you're the one that showed how to get to support. So even though now it's Neslin and I that are handling the situation, or the development team or whatever, you're still the hero of the story because you're the one that told him to do that, and you said you put in a heads up and let them know that. And then do that. Contact me. Hey, my customer, Mary Jane, has a problem with her software. She's sending it in. So really important, okay? If you do that level of customer service, and Will says that's what he does, right? If you do that level of customer service, you're not going to be spending a lot of time doing customer service, but you're going to make sure you're always the hero of the story. People will be less likely to cancel, and they'll be much more likely to buy something additional. Hey, you got a new solution to a different problem they have. Hey, man, that guy Hilton, he helped me out 4 times last year. I'm going to buy this from him. That's the thing to do. Makes a huge difference in your business. Again, if you don't want to spend the time, that's fine, but understand you're going to have a little harder time selling new things. You're going to have a little higher churn rate. If that's acceptable to you, no problem. It's your business. That's perfectly fine. Training videos are another way. Make your own training videos. Do what Joe mentioned. Joe said he took the Genius Messenger videos, watched mine, and said, okay, here's Ed's video 1. I'm going to do exactly. So watch the corporate one if you want, whatever it is. Watch that one, and then make your own based on that, and then match it. Make it. If the software has 12 training videos, then have 12 training videos at the beginning. But then as you start doing customer service, you'll find out problems customers are having, issues. You can do additional training videos or redo the ones you've done to address those issues. So that's one thing you can do for customer service. The other thing you can do is most software companies have a channel where they reach out to their resellers. For me, what I do is I have a Facebook group for most of my products specific to that product where the resellers are in that group. And what the software companies do, the reputable ones anyway, make an announcement when there's a bug that they find. Like I deal with a lot of Chrome extensions in Facebook, and Facebook is making changes all the time, right? So we have to go change the software all the time. Well, when we notice a bug, I'm going to talk about this for just a second because a lot of people still don't know this. There are 12 versions of Facebook that we've identified. There may be more. They all have a different DOM structure, a DOM structure, which is something object management. I don't even remember what the D's for. But what it is the way the browser reads that web page and then conveys that information to you, the user. Where does a button appear on the page? What size font is it? It's the CSS, but it's also layout. It's also functionality. It's also the scripts that are running in the background. And Facebook has 12 completely different versions that all look identical to the end user. And you don't know you have a different DOM until something is different all of you have probably experienced on Facebook. Somebody goes, hey, look at this cool new feature I've got. And you're like, I don't have that. Like the add everyone tag, right? Now most people have it, but still not everyone. But when it first came out, only a few people had it. Well, we have the same thing. Facebook will change a DOM structure to test something or try something out. And they want to watch the user's behavior in that DOM structure before they roll it out to everyone. And they may take it away, or they may roll it out to everyone, and they may change it, or they may try 2 different ways it works with 2 different DOM structures and say, let's look at our user's behavior and see which one's having a better user experience. Yeah, document object model. So that's what these are, right? So sometimes we'll get bugs as software developers that we don't even know about because we don't have that DOM structure. We've never seen it. And your person might be the first person to report that. Well, once I have someone report it and we've identified it as a DOM issue, I make an announcement in the Facebook group, hey, we're having an issue with this. Let your users know. And I do it for a purely selfish reason. As soon as I do that, if you guys as resellers let all your users know that, I get less customer support tickets for the same thing that Neslin has to copy and paste. It's a known issue. It'll be resolved by Friday. It's a known issue. It'll be resolved by Friday. We can cut our tickets down, but it's also a service to the customer. Your customers appreciate, oh, I was going to ask about that. Oh, good. It's not me. I know I just need to wait a couple of days. Great. Customers appreciate that. That's a part of customer service. You see that come in on the Facebook group, go into your email, do a broadcast to all your customers for that product, segment the list as that product, send it out. Hey, we're experiencing this issue. You may or may not have it, but if you do, it's a known issue. We're on it. It'll be fixed by Friday, or it'll, whatever ETA we've provided, if we've given one. And then when it's fixed, send another broadcast out, because they don't know. I have a video called How to Manually Update a Chrome Extension. Most people don't know how to do that. It's a 1.5-minute video. You can make one. And so when you're saying, hey, this problem's fixed, but you need to update your Chrome, if it's a Chrome extension, for example, you need to update your extension. Chrome will eventually auto-update everyone, but I've seen them take a month. New software comes out, they don't auto-update all the users for a month, but they can force that update, and there's a way to do that. So make a video, show how to do it. Now you can do a message to your list. Hey, if you were experiencing the problem, it's fixed. Here's how to manually update to make sure you don't have to wait on Chrome. If you have any more problems, let me know. It'll take you 5 minutes. Again, you're the hero of the story. All the users that now aren't waiting for an update, they know the problem's fixed. They can go back and start using that software again, start experiencing that solution to that problem again. And because you send them that message, it's a great open rate on those kind of announcements when your email. It gives good account health to your email. But again, you're the hero of the story. You identified a problem. You let them know when the solution was coming. You've given them the solution. You've even shown them how to expedite the solution, if it's in the example of a Chrome extension. So think of these kinds of things. That's all part of customer service. And again, I know which resellers I have that are doing that, and they have the lowest churn rate. They have the highest new sales when they introduce a new product to their portfolio, that kind of thing. They have the best follow through and funnels with sales. It's all about that customer experience, and it only takes a minute to do it. You can even create a template for when there's a bug problem and a template for when it's resolved. And all you got to do is plug in, hey, this extension is down for this reason, just fill in a couple of things and send it. It'll take you 2 minutes. But you'll find it helps your churn rate. Any questions on, I think that's all I had on customer service. Oh, yeah, one more, a support desk. You don't need a support desk, but think how do you want your customers, if you're going to handle front-end customer support, which is just that identifying whether it's a user issue or a bug, and then either helping them fix it or helping them submit a support ticket. Think how you want to communicate that. Do you want them to reach out to you on Messenger, on email? You may find a help desk is a good way to do that. And you can just look for help desk tickets and answer them. That may be a good solution, but don't rule that out, because there are a lot of really good help desk softwares out there. Kartra has a good one built in. Builderall has a good one. You can get some free ones from different sources that work pretty well. Zendesk has a good one. So just think about how do you want the people to communicate with you, and then do that to what degree. Any questions on customer service stuff? Let's see if there's a. Okay, so Tim's question was answered by Joe. Okay. Otherwise, we're moving on the last page of the outline. We're getting there. Been through 2 full pages. Got a half a page to go. Thank you all for hanging in for this long one. Okay, this one we've actually already kind of talked about as we've done this, so I think we only need a minute or two on this. Upselling and future selling clients, and particularly future selling. We talked about email onboarding, but if you're getting people to read your emails and open them, you definitely want to take advantage of that and sell them things in the future. Just make sure what you're selling is related to that list, okay? Or you'll get a bunch of unsubscribes and probably spam complaints. And I don't care if somebody unsubscribes from my list, but I want them to unsubscribe because they're no longer interested in being there, not because I've made a faux pas and tried to pitch them something that's not appropriate. Again, if your people are buying, I don't know, health supplements from you, you don't want to sell them dog grooming ebooks. It doesn't fit. There's got to be coherency in your message. But pitch them, sell them stuff. Okay, I see people, they might unsubscribe if I try to sell them something. Well, guess what? They're never going to buy anything from you again, and you don't need them on your list. Great, thank you. You don't need them there anyway. So sell people stuff, but don't make your list all pitch, and don't make your list all content. If you give away all free content, you'll never be able to develop paid content down the road, which you may want to do with membership sites and paid trainings and things like that. So if you find, for example, a new software, and this is going to lead into the next thing I'm going to talk about, which is how to scale your business. If you find a new software to offer and it fits that, okay, then send it out to the list and say, hey, I'm offering a new software product. I know you've been loving this one. This one also does. And then list problems and solutions, not features and, problems and solutions. This one can help you with these issues. If you've been having them, here's the buy button. And send them to a sales page. Again, whether that sales page is a Google Doc or a website or a Facebook post, send them out there, but sell them. I would give them an opportunity to buy something from you every email you send them. Those emails should have a link at the bottom to a website. You should have I didn't talk about this, you should have a main website where everybody can kind of a catch-all site where you can say, hey, my name's so-and-so and I sell software and here's the software I sell. You can put that link and then have a link to all your individual sales pages. Put that link in the signature line in your email. It's not a blatant pitch, but it's an opportunity for them to learn more about you. Maybe it's just a link to your Facebook page, whatever. There should be a place for them to click to go see more about what you do and have an opportunity there to buy things from you. So an email doesn't have to be a blatant sales pitch, but every email should have an opportunity for them to buy from you. But the ones that are blatant sales pitches, make them fun and make them problem-oriented and solution-oriented. They'll open the email, they'll read it, whether they buy or not, but they won't mind getting it if your email is a solution to a problem. They won't go, this is spam, it's no relation to me. How often should you do that? I don't know. It really depends on your list. I would probably pitch them something. If you're mailing every day, I would probably pitch them something once a week. If you're mailing every 2 or 3 days, I would pitch something every couple of weeks. If you're emailing once a week, it's not often enough. So, but if you are, once a month, pitch them something. Upsells of basic plans, okay? I don't sell basic plans, but a lot of software has different tiers. You could use a basic plan of a software as a lead magnet. I didn't mention that back in lead magnets, or as a micro offer, like Jeff was talking about. You could offer a basic plan for a really low price. And then you can come back as they use that, and in your email follow-ups, you can say, hey, by the way, the software does other things. It'll help with other issues. It's only costs this to upgrade. So that could be a way to get somebody in at a really low price point, but then start selling them and pitching them and upselling them to see if they'll give you more money. That's a great candidate if they upsell to offer more products too. So keep that in mind. I don't do that. Everybody that buys with, well, I shouldn't say that. I don't do that. Very rarely I do that. Only 1 or 2 products. But it is a good strategy and it works for a lot of people. Additional products we've talked about. One thing that you want to do from people, a way to get new business, is ask for referrals. Okay, and you can do that in your email. Somebody's hit that 30-day mark. Somebody's hit that 60-day mark. They're still using their software. Let's say they are a realtor. Do they know other realtors? Sure. Are they going to give it to their competitor that's down the street? Probably not. Okay. But do they have a referral team that they work with? Would they like those people to be organized too, that they're sending referrals out to anyway? Absolutely. So ask for referrals. Do you know any other realtors? Or if they're a realtor, do you know any loan originators or insurance agents or title companies? Maybe not title companies for the type of software I sell, but maybe your software could use those that could use this software too. And then offer them something. Maybe offer them a lead magnet for a referral. Hey, I'll give you an example. I've got something that wishes a happy birthday to all your Facebook friends. So once a year, you've had a message sent out to everybody. You've had posts. You stay in touch. It's good name recognition. Good top of head marketing is a birthday thing. And if you give me a referral, I'll give you the basic version of that software for free. Well, now guess what? Now you got an opportunity to sell them an upgrade on something you gave them for a referral. But ask for referrals. People they do it in every industry, but I don't see people doing it very often in software. And it's ridiculous because I get referrals all the time, but you have to ask for them. Go to that barber. Hey, do you, like I have a barber in town up in this Elizabethtown, and he actually teaches new barbers how to barber. So they'll work in his shop for a while and then they'll go out and get their own business. Well, he wants them to be successful. So his barbers are a great source of referrals for me. Okay. So, think about those kinds of things. The CPA, I don't recommend going after CPAs a lot, but if you go after your CPAs and you get them on, your accountants, what do they work with? They work with businesses, a lot of them, right? If they're that type of CPA, and ask, hey, do you have any mom and pop businesses that these softwares would work great for? If they work good for the accountant, he can make a recommendation. Hey, I ran across a solution. Check this out. They'll love him just for recommending it. Don't discount that. Testimonials we've already talked about. They're important. remember, you don't always have to offer reselling. You don't have to offer software, okay? You might run across a great affiliate program, okay, that goes along with your software business. For example, in mine, I spend a lot of time offering reseller programs for software. So those people need payment processing. I have a company I recommend. Those people need sales pages. I have an affiliate program with Kartra. I have an affiliate program with Builderall. Hey, you need a good solution? There's my affiliate link. I'd really appreciate it if you use it. So some of your solutions that you're offering these people don't have to be other softwares. They could be ancillary things, but that are tied in directly to what they're doing that you could join an affiliate program for and get side sales just because you're talking to them about that kind of business anyway, and you can make a good recommendation. So keep that in your mind as you're thinking about things to offer your buyers list. Maybe they're not something that's another software. Maybe it's something you can affiliate with. Any questions on that? I don't see any there. Okay. Everybody's good with upselling and future selling and getting referrals. Okay. The last thing that I'm going to talk about, my last topic, and then as I said at the beginning, if you stay on for another 30 seconds, I do have an offer I'm going to pitch, but it will only take 30 seconds. But before that, I want to talk about scaling. Okay, I did mention earlier that I went from, you know, a $7 offer up to spending, you know, $15K a month. The only reason I've been able to do that, and it's still profitable for me to do that, is I've scaled my business. So how do you scale a software business? First off, you've got to be willing to invest in yourself. When you get paid by your software business, I pay my software business first. And what I mean by that is I reinvest in the business. I'm still all organic, so I don't have an ad budget. That's going to change in 2023. I will be doing ads. But so far, all of my business has been organic. I dabbled in ads a little bit to see how Facebook leads connects to some of my software, and then I stopped running the ads. That's not how I get my business. But if you want to run ads, I have resellers that are running ads, and that's a good way to get additional customers. So one way to scale your business is to get new customers. That's probably the first way to scale your business, is to increase your customer base. And you can do that best through asking for referrals, which we just talked about, making sure your sales pages are out there and seen by people and getting traffic. And the best way to do that is your pages are problem and solution. One problem, one solution. And pitching your email list for additional things is another way to do it. And the number one thing that's going to get you most sales, testimonials. Make sure your pages have testimonials. You get a new testimonial, add it to your sales page, go into Canva and create a 15-second, it could be, if it's a typed testimonial, you can go into Canva, you can throw that in as a video. Canva will give you a background music, right? And make it a 10 or 12 or 15-second video with that testimonial and background music, and put it out on YouTube with a link to the product that it's a testimonial from, okay? Do things like that. Put it out on a Facebook post. Hey, look at this testimonial I just got. Don't be afraid to self-promote, okay? Testimonials are a great way to get new business, but make sure you're not only putting the testimonial out there, but make sure people have a way to get the software from you. If it's a Facebook post, you may not want to put your link out there. In fact, I very rarely put direct links out. I'd rather get a communication going. But you could put that testimonial out there as a picture with a post above it saying, hey, look at this great testimonial. If you were having the issue that John had and you think this software is a solution, PM me, I'll send you a link, something like that. Or put a hashtag down below and I'll have my automation software hit you up in Messenger. So, use those testimonials to grow your customer base. The more social proof you have, the more testimonials you have, and the more exposure you're getting on YouTube. YouTube's a great place. Put your training videos there. That will get you additional customers. So that's the first way to scale. Put all these tools you have at your disposal. Everything I've talked about, asking for referrals, getting testimonials, and then putting those things out there. Doing videos on YouTube. You can do a Facebook Live. All those kind of things will get you additional customers. The other way you can scale is to grow your repertoire, your product base, right? And I call it a repertoire because, again, I'm not selling products. I'm selling, one, it's a service, but more particularly, I'm offering solutions to a problem. So I want my repertoire of solutions to be greater. And I can increase that by thinking of different ways that a particular software can help someone and match up to their problem, that'll help me get more customers. But then I can also think of additional softwares that work with that problem, that work with the solutions to that product. So take that money that you're earning and put it back in yourself. If you can only afford to resell one product right now, get really good at reselling it and get a nice customer base up. And as soon as you've done that, find another product that goes with that and offer it. Now you've already got a customer base you can sell it to. In most cases, if you've done that first step of getting more customers properly, it's self-funded. It's what I call a self-funded offer. Maybe you've got to spend another 100 or 200 a month to get this additional software, but you've got a customer base that the day you invest in that software, you'll have customers. You can even pre-sell. I do this a lot with new software. You can say, hey, I'm going to be adding a new software. Here's what it does. Here's the solution it provides for your issues. If you prepay me now, I'm not going to have it for you for another week, but if you prepay me now, I'll give it to you for this big discount and offer for 10 people. Maybe that software you're going to sell for $47 a month and it costs you $200 a month to get it, but you don't have the $200 a month. You got your customer base, go out your customer base, offer 10 people $20 a month. The first 10 people can have it for $20 a month. Now you've got your $200 a month, and now all of a sudden you can add a second product, no money out of pocket. Collect that money up front from them, but don't start their software for a week. Okay, they're getting that huge discount for waiting a week and not having the software. Yeah, for instance, he's at one product stage now with the second one, but that's the way to do that, is use that existing customer base to pay for that second product. And that's how you start adding additional products. But you got to be willing to pay yourself. You got to be willing to say, I'm going to take that $200 a month. I'm going to take that $100 a month, or that whatever that software is costing you. It's a business expense. Scale your business that way. All right. You could also think about at some point white labeling software. You don't need to white label everything. All right. You could find one or two products to white label to call your own to build a software brand. Now you're just not someone that offers software solutions. You're a software company. That's a really good way to scale if you're at that point. It does require a significantly higher expenditure of cash, typically, to white label things. But at some point in a software reseller's career, I believe you should white label something. I know Joe's been doing software for a while, and he finally took the plunge to white label something. So, you want to do that at some point because it helps you build your brand. You don't need to white label everything unless you want to take that expense and build a brand. But yeah, what is Shelly's got something there? She has something in software she resells, and software she has white label. Great position to be in, right? Make a good blend of that. Resell some, you can be an affiliate of some, you can resell some, you can white label some. But reselling is a great idea. Joe, you wanted to comment on that?
Yeah, I never thought that I would want to white label anything, and that's not my desire. My desire is because I'm a partner with Tier 5, and so what I always wanted to do was have them deal with all the customer service and everything. But I did want to white label once, and I got a great deal, and I just looked for it, and I saw a software that I really liked, so I white labeled it. And the reason I did that was for the experience. I wanted the experience to white label something to see the depth and then how I can actually monetize it. And I've reached out to Ed many a times and go, hey, in the Chrome extension store with the white labeling, how do you do this? And it really helped. Now I have a complete understanding about what white labeling is really doing. Even though you don't have the desire to do it, it's always a good experience to try to do it once on something that's a low-key one, because you can really give it away as a lead magnet as well too. So absolutely.
Yeah, perfect. I've even got some lead magnet type softwares that I can have people white label for very low cost, and it gives them that experience. You do have a lot more work with a white label. You have to handle all your customer support. And then communicate with the development team if there's a bug. So it is a lot more work. And I'm not going to talk about how to monetize white labels, because it's a little outside the scope of this particular training. But I've gotten really good. Most white labels I do now, as soon as I see the price, I buy it, and because I know I can monetize it instantly. Most white labels I bought, with one exception, I've monetized in 24 hours. And most of them not most, but about half of them I've monetized before I even gave the guy my money to white label it. I've had them already in the profit before I've even paid for them. So I can teach you how to do things like that once you get a good base up and a good portfolio outside the scope of this, but we can do that. So if anybody's in a position to white label, just reach out to me and I'll be happy to talk about white labeling aspect. It's a whole different side of the business. A lot of the principles I talked about here still apply. It's the same business overall, but some of the specifics and the way you'll do things are completely different. So you can reach out to me, but consider that. It's a great way to grow your software business. The other thing you can think about doing is develop your own software. Come up with your own software. For the most part, now we're talking about another higher level of output you have to do cash-wise and work. But it's really good. If anybody wants to develop a software and has never worked with a software development team, doesn't know anything about marketing that aspect of the business or anything, hit me up. I would even be willing to partner with people. If you've got a great idea, I can handle the brunt of the communications with the development team. I've got great development teams I work with, and we can help you take that and scale that. Something to think about. It's not for everyone. But if you've got a really great software idea, just make sure if you think you're going to solve for anything, don't go out to Upwork and just hire a team that you don't know anything about. It's more expensive. The way I do it, it's more expensive to get to build the teams the way I've done it. But I know for a fact I'm going to end up with a working product. I'm not going to have a team walk out in the middle. I'm not going to get stuck with something that doesn't work. I'm not going to get hit with hidden fees on the back end. I'd rather have that. When I did house flips, we used to do rehabs and flip houses. And I had a contractor I worked with in Baltimore City, and he was about 20% higher than everyone else, but he guaranteed his price. And I used him. So I paid a lot of money for my contractor, but I never got stuck with an unexpected bill. I knew my exit strategy worked because I knew what my costs were going to be, and they were never going to be higher. When you hire development teams out in the wild, sometimes you think it's going to cost you 10 grand, and it winds up it's really going to cost you 50. So you want to avoid that. And I'm not really going to get into the development side any more than that on here, but just know if you really want to scale this, at some point you're going to want to offer not even just a white label, but actually your own product. And again, like with white labeling, reach out to me. I'll be happy. Even if I don't partner up with you, I'm still happy to walk you through some of the processes and share my insights with you. But scale, take part of your money. Take, if you're going to run an ad budget of 25%, but you're going to run organically, take that 25% of your money and use it to buy more software to increase that portfolio, because it'll grow and it'll grow nicely. Any questions on scaling? That's really all I have. It's about budgeting, earmark a percentage. Yeah, right, exactly. She puts 15% to buy things like more software. Yep. Yeah, and that's about what I do. I do 15% to 20%. Some months, if I have a really good month, I will throw a little higher percentage aside. But that's about where I am. It's a fantastic way to scale your business. Any other questions on any software reselling topic? I'm going to open it up now for open Q&A. Actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take 30 seconds and talk about an offer real quick. I have two offers I'm doing right now. I am doing one-on-one coaching. If anybody wants it, it is not cheap. It's $5,000 for a year or $500 a month. But I will work with you one-on-one, hand-to-hand, and get your business to whatever level you want to achieve it. So if you want to take advantage of that, I have room. I can do that with 5 people, and no more than that. And depending on who comes in first, I may say I've had enough of it and I'm not taking anymore. The other offer I have is a really, really low group coaching thing I'm going to be doing. I'm calling it a mastermind. It's going to be super cheap. What we're going to do is you're going to get, let me get my little list here so I don't miss anything. You're going to get a one-on-one onboarding session with me, and I will look at your business and see where you are in the business so that we know what your starting point is. There are going to be daily, weekly, and monthly tasks that you'll get with accountability. Some of the tasks will be going out to the entire group, and some will be specific to you because of where you are. And then you'll have accountability to come with those. I'll do monthly live sessions similar to what I've done today, but very specific to what those tasks have been that month. So we can do stuff. We'll do hot seats. They'll always be optional. You'll never have to get on one, but they'll be available if you want to get on there and have us look at what you've done and critique it and work with it, and even get a group involved in moving it forward. if you have something at any time we'll have a Facebook group, you can, ask a question at any time. You don't have to wait for a session or anything like that. You can reach out anytime. And I'm only going to have 30 people. When it hits 30 people, it's done. And the pricing is super affordable. It's going to be the full retail for it is $197 a month. You can cut it in half. I'll give you 50% off if you have any reseller program with me. If you're a lifetime partner with me, you automatically get 50% off. If you have a reseller package subscription with me, you automatically get 50% off. And if you don't, buy something from me. I'll give you 50% off. Buy a small lead magnet package from me for $100 a month, and there's your discount. Okay. And that's what we're going to do. It's a small group. I'm always available anyway, so don't feel like you have to buy anything, because like guys like Tim's one of my lifetime partners. Tim knows if he has to get on a Zoom, I'll get on a Zoom with him any day of the week, anytime, work with him. But there's an advantage to being in a group and having some accountability and some common tasks. Some of the networking there is going to be worth $100 a month. So that's my pitch. If you want in on that, I'm not going to give a link out. Just hit me up on Facebook and I'll get with you. But when it hits 30 people, I'm done. The only other pitch I have, it's actually a request. I'm going to put a link in the chat here. And that's my warm welcome link. If everybody would, after we're all finished, go out there and just make a little testimonial on warm welcome. You can make a video, a text, or an audio a testimonial. Just hop on there and say, yeah, that's good, Shelly, thanks. Yeah, appreciate it, and glad you could make it. But leave me talk about today's session, about how I train, my training, the information you get from me, how valuable it was to you. If you would, please, I would really appreciate it. Just as a thank you to me, I would appreciate it, but I do thank all of you. And so now I will stay on here. That's it. That's all the pitching I have. Leave me a review if you would. And if you want to join our small group coaching, Nestlin will be very, very involved with that as well. It'll be her and I kind of running that, and we'll get you rolling on that. Otherwise, if you have any questions, I will stay as long as you want. If there are no questions, I'm happy to go. And if you want to hang on here for another 2 hours, I'll hang here as many questions as everybody has.